We ain't got no time to waste. Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the zone.
Going right at Jokic with 4 fouls. Embiid fades and fills it up.
Yeah.
James, the drive. James, the finish.
Oh.
Curry for the lead. Oh. Kaboom! Bogdanovich. Curry. Coast to coast. Winner faces France for the gold medal. Petrusev steps up. He wants the ISO. He's got the ISO. 5 to shoot. The cross. The sauce.
He's not nice.
The splash. Bogdanovich puts it up. Short. And the United States, trailing by as many as 17, back from underneath the grave, advance to the gold medal game.
From the grave to the top, USA. This is a zone. I am Sterling Holmes, no Jason Anderson. Dylan Michaels behind the glass. A lot to get into today, talking Olympics, specifically men's Olympic basketball. We'll talk some Royals. Got some interesting tidbits on the Royals, especially sustainability in regards to runners in scoring position. Talking Chiefs, Dylan and I, in about maybe 20 minutes or so. 53-man roster predictions. Dylan's excited for it. I'm excited for it. Hopefully you're excited for it. I figured it's fair to do it now before the preseason. It's an ever-changing 53-man roster prediction, but I like putting the first one out before the preseason actually starts. We'll be joined by Matt Derrick at 11 o'clock. Get his thoughts. Again, just Chiefs-related with Matt Derrick for the 11 o'clock hour. And then Mick Schaefer joins us in the 1 o'clock hour. But I do want to start, Dylan, with this being Formal Friday. Now that Jason Anderson's gone for the day, we can dress up. We can now be the classy show we were meant to be, right? Look how classy we are, Dylan. I'm in a full suit back here.
I'll just keep the camera on you.
You're wearing
classy. I'm wearing 810 attire,
yeah,
but it's not as classy.
It's a classy 810 shirt, though.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
pressed it.
There you go.
You got it dry clean.
There you go.
Yeah. I see you. I see that white hat.
There you go. Yeah.
It's glaringly white. It's you know when you like
new.
It is a new hat. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kay the other day, I was wearing white shoes. He goes, "Wow, those shoes are white. How do you keep them so white?" I go, "First time wearing them."
That's always the best.
First time
the best
wearing
day, the best looking day for every shoe. Basically,
yes,
it's the first day.
Guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
But with Jason gone today, it's Formal Friday, so we're now a classy show. We're not a classy show. He'll be back on Tuesday. Jason back on Tuesday. But talking Olympics now. Dylan, you watched that USA Olympic basketball game last night.
Oh yeah,
it was
awesome.
One of the best games. It reminded me of the 2008 USA versus Spain game, right? Mm-hmm. That was the only game for, in my opinion, of like USA basketball Olympics.
A struggle-ish.
A struggle-ish.
Yeah.
USA didn't really play bad.
No.
Serbia was playing out of their minds.
There was thoughts that they didn't really, expose their actual game plan for the United States in their first couple matches against the team. Like they really didn't play Jokic as much as they did in last night's game.
Yeah.
In the first one. And that was strategic so that we really didn't have a good look at it. And that was a massive issue for us, it felt like. And they were picking up full court press, it felt like the whole game.
Yeah.
Like it felt like they had active hands and they were a bigger team. Like they're a very good sized team.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
And they got some NBA players, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Bogdan Bogdanovic had a great game.
And he's like probably 6'6" or whatever, but he looks like a guard out there compared to everyone else. So
yeah, 6'6", 6'5".
Yeah.
Good NBA player. And he was getting into it with Carmelo Anthony on the
I
sideline.
actually loved that. Yeah, that was awesome.
Melo and Bogdan getting a little beef right there. And then
That's like AAU tournament vibe, like atmosphere, like guy on the side, like
Yes.
ex-player on the side that's talking trash to the other team, and the other team's talking trash back. Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
it was like Reggie Miller and Spike Lee for a
Yeah.
little bit there. And Bogdanovich hit a three and did the Carmelo Anthony 3-point celebration looking at him. I mean, this game was just, it had it all.
Yeah.
It had it all. And quite frankly, it took into the fourth quarter. At one point, USA's down 17 in this game, right? And then the United States outscore Serbia 32-15 in the fourth quarter. And my main takeaway, I think like number one, I don't care what your thoughts are on LeBron James. The fact of the matter is, he looked like the best player on the floor in the fourth quarter. He is 39 years old. I'm not getting into any MJ, LeBron James debate. That's a losing argument. No fun happens with that debate. But last night, at age 39, game on the line, plays needed to be made. The 39-year-old stepped up, taking the ball to the rack, ended up with a triple-double. He was the de facto point guard. He was the quarterback. The court looks a lot shorter, doesn't it? I believe the court's a lot shorter than the NBA. At least it looked like it. LeBron was making it look like it was some of those passes.
Oh, yeah. No, he makes it look small. I would almost argue it might look a little like bigger. Because usually when the NBA players are playing in NBA games, the court feels very small. But this seems kind of normal, a little bit. Maybe my eyes are deceiving, but I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
I was just shocked that LeBron at this age was able to take over and dominate. Insane. We'll get to Joel Embiid because I think there's been a little bit of a polarizing factor with him. I'm a Sixers guy. If you know me, huge Sixers fan. Worked for the 76ers for a couple years out there. As great as Joel Embiid was offensively, he was that bad defensively. And not just guarding Jokic, because there was a lot of screens. So Nikolai was going up against Durant, LeBron, Devin Booker a lot in ISO, right? Because USA was pretty much switching everything. It was boxing out. Dylan, I don't know if you noticed this. 3 straight possessions, Joel Embiid didn't box out 3 straight times. I'm screaming at my TV. It's great, Joel. You're going down and cooking whoever you're going up against, but all you're doing is getting the points back that you just gave up. I love Embiid. KU fans, I ain't taking a shot at him. He plays for the Sixers. But his lack of boxing out, I don't know if it was hustle or not, atrocious. And I feel like no one's really talking about this. And then later on in the game, another box out missed, and then gives up a 3-point play. I love you, Joel, but
he was the only guy on the team that could guard Jokic at the moment. It felt like.
Yes.
I mean, it was the case. I mean, you could tell as soon as he came off the floor, it was a 14-point lead again from a 5-point lead.
Yes.
So.
But what did every time he gets switched off, he decided, I'm not boxing out? Because Serbia just kept saying, we're going to put you in pick and roll. We'll let Nikolai go up against Durant, LeBron, or Devin Booker. And then, Joel, you're now guarding, who was it at the time? Was it, I don't know.
Your guess is as good as mine. I got Bogdanovich and
Mulitanov. Was that the guy late in the game who was getting all the rebounds? Or Petrosov? Late in the game, though, Joel was switching off of Nikolai because of the pick and roll. Serbia did a great job there because they knew that he could not go up against Joel defensively, right? So they'd put him one-on-one against Durant, who's skinny, LeBron, who Nikolai has the advantage on just because of size,
right,
or Devin Booker. So then Joel's switching off and just not boxing out against the smaller guy he's guarding.
Yeah.
And that guy got the rebound 4 times in the fourth quarter.
And one was pretty devastating, too. He tipped it right to a wide-open Joker, too.
Yes.
So, But you had to make the trade-off because you really had no one that was stopping Joker.
Agreed.
So it was basically like, okay, we have 4 other athletes on the floor that can hopefully get a rebound if Joel is struggling to figure out where his man's at on a box out.
Yeah.
But no one can. Anthony Davis wasn't stopping Joker, and neither would Bam wasn't.
No.
So it's kind of a thank God we had Joel.
Oh, agreed. And you see fringe fans who are not thrilled with that.
And boy, does it line up perfect for ratings and tickets and villains versus France and all that stuff for the gold medal match.
Which I love Joel being like, I've lived, over half my life in the United States. He's like, I'm an American. Like it's true, though, right? I mean, he should get to decide. I just thought last night's game was, and we haven't even got to Steph Curry. Steph Curry with 36 points. Was it the second most in USA Olympic basketball history behind Carmelo Anthony? Steph was incredible. 12 of 19 from the field. 9 of 14 from 3. He iced the game with 2 clutch free throws late. It was just a all-around great performance. And you sit here and go, well, how did the USA get in such a dogfight, only win by 4? I don't think of it as a knock against Team USA. I think of it as a give credit to Serbia. Give credit to the rest of the world for basketball improving that much. Like, I think we're very naive if you don't say the rest of the world is, I don't want to say caught up by any means, because you don't see NBA players or people from America who could play in the NBA all of a sudden say, you know what, I'm playing in Serbia. No, it's the opposite. But it would be naive to say that the rest of the world is not catching up or getting a lot better at basketball. 2 of the best players in the NBA are from Slovenia and Serbia. Again, I'm not saying that all of Serbia, but they have 2 of the best players are from overseas. Seeing Team USA celebrate after the game, awesome. I'm so sick of people who are sitting here going, why are you celebrating? You won by 4. You gotta fight back. They did fight back, and they won. Sorry, I have bald eagles flying around me and red American blood coursing through my veins. When Team USA wins, America wins. I don't care by how much. Celebrate. Don't pick and choose. Like, I saw a dude from Denver giving more credit to Serbia. And I'm like, Durant commented and goes, dude, where are you from? Durant, by the way, don't talk smack on the X right now because Durant is coming at you. The Slim Reaper, not just in basketball, but also in social media. But we're American. I root for the Americans. I don't care if you have some disagreements. I don't care if you think MJ over LeBron. I don't care that they barely won. They won. I'm turning on Ted Nugent's Stranglehold, cracking open an ICB, ice cold beer, and celebrating. And I love that the basketball team did as well. I love the passion they showed because to me, what does that tell you, Dylan? They're proud to rock the red, white, and blue.
I watched LeBron lose his mind on the bench. I don't know if anyone else saw it, but Anthony Davis, the ball, when it seems like LeBron and maybe a couple others, it is hard to remember that I can knock this out. It's not goaltending.
Yeah.
But one of the free throws, it was almost tailor-made for Anthony Davis, just swatted out, and he just waited on it. And you could see LeBron, almost he couldn't get off the bench and go and, do it himself, and it was killing him. He was pissed off, and it was, they care. I mean, it really does. I mean, it matters. It matters it feels like a college team.
Yes. That's a great point. It feels like a college team. And by the way,
that felt like March Madness last night where your team is playing a team that's clearly not as good, but they just are lacing threes every time down the floor. And every time you just get close enough, they pull away. And I think that's awesome where the difference between professional and college kids is in that moment they are so much more poised and so much more, ready for that type of adversity that it didn't even phase them, and they go on a 30-12 run.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it was Steph Curry down the stretch making those free throws. Although I will say I have seen Steph look more comfortable at the free throw line before.
Well, I mean, it's a massive, that was a lot of pressure. That's the other thing that these guys are kind of not realizing for the first time because they've done it before, but it's kind of a shock to the system of there's not another game. There's not a home and home or, first, the series doesn't start till the home team loses. It's a one and done.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Makes people play tight.
Yeah. Again, LeBron down the stretch, Steph down the stretch, Durant down the stretch. Embiid offensively in the fourth quarter could not be stopped. They move on. They play France.
They should take the momentum from this game and win by 20.
I hope so. They play France Saturday at 2:30 p.m. I know I will be watching this game. I'm sure Dylan's going to have this game turned on. Preseason football.
It's almost like the last thing of the Olympics besides the women's gold medal match, I think. Like the basketball kind of closes it out.
I mean, we have preseason football at 6 p.m., right, for the Chiefs-Jags?
Yep.
What a way to lead up to that than to see USA get a gold medal.
In France, against France.
That'd be absolutely electric. I hope Team USA just crushes some croissants after the game. They will have deserved it. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Dylan and I will give our 53-man roster predictions up next, right here in the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. latest edition. Originally, I had a guy in this room off the team. And this morning, before the show, Dylan, I talked myself into a guy making it. That man is Carson Steele. I have 4 running backs / fullback. 4 backs, if you will. Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde, Deneric Prince, Carson Steele.
We are the same.
Don't like that. I would have loved for some disagreement with you.
Nope. If the smart answer is the right answer, then that's, there's really no debate.
Hopefully Matt Derrick disagrees. Hopefully he gets a little more into this. I know.
I think it's pretty obvious that if he can, didn't Andy kind of say that they're already trying him to do running back as well because they believe he's
and that's
got
my point.
the
Yeah,
ability to do both. So why would you not have both? And essentially your 4th string running back anyway.
Well, that's what it came down to for me.
Because one more thing. Is the ability he has to play running back better than the 4th string that you're going to keep? And then you also add a fullback.
Well, my thought with Carson Steele was he'll play a little fullback. He'll play 4th string running back.
Right.
But also, that value to me was more important than a 4th tight end, which we'll get to in a second.
That's another area. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's where it came down to me. I had Irv Smith Jr. on the roster, which we'll get to. A little spoiler. But this morning I go, what's more important? 4th string tight end, when you have 3 good ones, or 4th string RB / combo fullback, when you have one guy you trust who's been injured a lot already in Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who you trust to an extent, right? Not great, but he's fine, and he's going through his own battles, right? And then Deneric Prince, who's a complete unknown. For me, you want to have the break in case of emergency guy in that room rather than the tight end room. Because even with only 3 tight ends, you can still rock 13 personnel. You'll still rock a ton of 12 personnel. So let's get to the tight end room right now before we go to wide receivers, because I think this is the best transition here. Tight ends, I have Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, and Jared Wiley. The reason why I have Irv Smith Jr. just off the roster, hopefully he's a practice squad guy. He's almost redundant with Travis Noah and Jared Wiley. For all the qualms folks had with Blake Bell, he brought something different to the roster, right? Blake Bell was a block first tight end. That's not Irv Smith. His game, fairly reductive when you have Jared Wiley and Noah Gray, and of course Travis, already on the roster. I like what I've seen from Irv, but I don't see how he, in a snap-to-snap, game-by-game basis, adds more value than Carson Steele, who, by the way, I could also see playing some special teams. So that's how I have that breakdown in regards to the running back, fullback room versus tight end. You can occasionally line up Noah Gray as a fullback, but I don't think that's the best roster construction or the best advantage. So for me, it was fairly simple. Hard, but simple. Carson Steele over Irv Smith Jr. That was my exact 1-for-1.
Yeah, you want people that can do more things than just their specific position, and I don't know, I'd imagine he's cheaper. Because veteran minimum is a lot cheaper than, yeah.
So for tight ends, do you have the same breakdown? Do you have 3 or 4?
I got 3. I think we have the same breakdown. Because you do have to choose. I did forget that you're right. You have to choose those 2. It's not just the running back position. You have to leave out. It is that 3rd tight end spot to have Carson Steele. But it is smart. You don't want just a 4th tight end or a 4th running back when you can have a 1st string fullback and a 4th running back.
Exactly. And for me, there's ways to keep both, but then you're keeping 5 wide receivers or you're keeping 9 offensive linemen, which I just don't think happens. I don't think the Chiefs will keep that few offensive linemen. They traditionally keep 10.
Yeah.
I know they value versatility, of course, but a lot of the backups are very young and relatively unproven, right?
Right.
So we'll get to the offensive line in a second. Wide receivers. I have 6. Dylan. He's ciphering back there. He's trying to cipher right now.
I mean, are we counting Remigio? So I guess I got
Yeah, I'm getting Remigio.
7.
Remigio.
I got 7.
You have 7.
I do.
Okay. Hollywood, Rice, Worthy, Watson. We have those 4, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Who are your last 3?
My last 3 are Remigio, Justin Ross, and it really is between Sky Moore and McCole Hardman. And it's really tough. I cannot decide the last one. Because both guys have done a lot for the I guess I would probably go Hardman. I mean, I wouldn't say Moore. Moore has done more than Kadarius Toney right now. Kadarius Toney, to me, is walking around like a guy who knows he's guaranteed the $2 million that he's getting.
Oh, yeah. He's
so
done.
I don't think people appreciate that in the building, and I think they would appreciate Sky Moore more for coming out and doing everything right and trying to make the most of this final opportunity, and that's where I kind of struggle with trying to pick between him and McCole because they obviously like McCole just as much as well. So I think that's going to be a very strugglesome pick, and I'm gonna go with McCole just because he's shown more than that.
I don't think there's a wrong answer in the wide receiver room when it comes to your predictions because it kind of goes by what's your flavor.
And like the last 2, Remigio and Toney, if people are going to – and Hardman even, if you include 3 of those guys, they're also punt returners. So it's not like they are, just wide receivers.
Yes.
And with the new kickoff, we have no idea.
So I kept 6, and this is hard for me. Hollywood, Rice, Worthy, Watson. I went with Remigio because I think Dave Tobe gets him on the roster. But I couldn't find, with my roster construction, keeping 7 wide receivers. I just don't see the value. Because wide receivers 5 and 6, quite frankly, hardly play at all to begin with, right? We saw that happen last year, even with Justin Ross on the 53-man at times last year. How many receptions did he have? Was it 6?
I think, yeah. I mean, it was for something for 60 or yards or whatever? Like 6 for 60.
And my point is just, is that the best value, or is it having, Carson Steele or a 10th offensive lineman? I don't see the value there, so that's why I'm keeping only 6 wide receivers. It's not Madden where all of a sudden you'll be playing and they just rotate in wide receiver 5 and 6 for no damn reason.
Yeah.
Still can't understand why Madden does that. So for me, I have Remigio, and that left 1 spot left. Okay? Toney, I think no. Justin Ross, I think will play at some point this year, but he's not on my first week 53, okay? Like, I think he's a practice squad guy. I think he gets through. I think you'll see Justin Ross at some point, maybe the first guy off of the PS, right? I don't see it week 1, though. I think McCole Hardman is also just on the outside looking in. I went Sky Moore.
Yeah, and I really do wonder if that is the case because of the draft capital and time that Sky Moore has spent to maybe see if he's going to – if it's not now, obviously it's going to be never, but you kind of know what McCole Hardman is anyway. And no one wanted him last – you got him from the Jets for nothing, and they weren't using him.
I almost think that McCole Hardman – I don't know if he would do it, but –
He'll get picked up immediately, but I don't know. So will Sky Moore.
I think Sky will too, and Sky has – that rookie contract, final year to really prove something. You don't really use wide receiver 5 that much, and you already have your return man and Remigio on the roster.
And that's the other thing I would love to ask Matt Derrick is, what is the difference between Sky Moore and Nico Remigio in terms of the spot on the roster, like what he's going to be used for and what his role will be, because it's not going to be much. Yeah. And honestly, they're both fringe.
I know everyone's yelling at me right now for me having Sky Moore on the 53 before I have Justin Ross and McCole, and I probably deserve the yellings. I just feel this is the way the Chiefs go.
Yeah, I was keeping those 2 over Sky. But I get what you're saying. I'm not saying it's wrong.
I just feel like that's how the Chiefs are going to operate. Now, I have also been known to use the word sunk cost. And Sky Moore's a sunk cost.
Well, we got where you
Clyde, yeah.
No,
where you draft him.
I was talking about Kadarius.
Sure. Where you draft him is now irrelevant. How do you make the best 53-man roster with who is currently out there? Where you drafted him
No, I agree.
is irrelevant. Rookie contracts matter and all that stuff. I get that. But to an extent, it's irrelevant that he was a second-round draft pick. Is he better than McColl? Does he make your team better having him versus Justin Ross versus Kadarius Toney? Sunk cost method. Huge fan of that. And we've seen the Chiefs operate like that before with Breeland Speaks, who, congratulations, got picked up by an NFL team recently. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just think, again, they roll with Sky. And I think Remigio is almost in pin at this point because of Dave Tobe's choice. It's like the DT.
That's the other thing, too. Because
Dave
remember,
Tobe's choice.
Sky was returning punts was that a rookie year?
Yeah, not great.
Well, until it was when he took it damn near all the way in the AFC Championship when it mattered.
Sure.
But that's where I want to ask Matt is like, isn't Nico Remigio kind of the same thing? Like, he feels like an exact carbon copy of Sky Moore. Like what we thought Sky Moore was going to be.
My thing
Shifty
with
slot guy, could play
Sure.
running back if we needed him to, can return punts too.
My thing with Sky, I firmly believe this. It's like 95% mental. I firmly believe that he's got like a Chuck Knobloch, a John Lester trying to throw to first, a Rick Ankiel situation rocking right now. Because he showed more as a rookie than he did all of last year. I think it's confidence. I think it's mental. If they can break through and he returns back to a little bit what he did as a rookie, where he showed the passion, the confidence, made some nice plays, then I think he's on the roster. So we'll see. All right, offensive line. I kept 10. I have Kingsley Suamataia, Jawan Taylor, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Joe Tooney. That's your 5 starters. My backups, Wanye Morris, Hunter Norzad, Caliendo, Lucas Niang, and CJ Hansen. Those last 2 spots are somewhat up for grabs. You have, Chew Godric. You got a couple names you can go with. I'm going with Niang because he can play tackle as well as guard. And CJ Hansen's more or less he's not going to be active on game day by any mean. But I think they keep CJ Hansen on the 53.
Yeah, I got 8.
Wow, that's bold.
Well, I mean, if you have Wanya Morris taking guard reps, you have a tackle and a guard there. And then you also have Niang, which is a backup tackle. And then you don't need Hansen and Caliendo. You can just have Norzad because he can play all across the interior.
My concern with that, so do you have Niang as your one of the...
He's like if either,
Sure.
either tackle's down, Niang's there. If Wanya's not. Like if we're already using Wanya at tackle or guard, then Niang's there for that.
My concern is with guys like Norzad or CJ Hansen, they're rookies.
You think they're just going to make it because of the pick?
I think Caliendo makes it because over Hansen and even Niang, because Caliendo's been here for a while now.
So you have 3 backup guards essentially.
Basically, but Norzad more or less as center.
Right, but he's like Allegretti to me, where he could do.
He is, but he's a rookie Allegretti.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, who knows?
And so for me, my thought process, they kept 10 last year, by the way. So my thought process for me was
Caliendo's in case he's not Allegretti, maybe? Is that what you're thinking?
I think Caliendo, if a guard goes down, Caliendo's the first one up.
Oh, okay. I've just seen Norzad snap into Mahomes in 7-on-7 a lot.
No. If Creed goes down, it's Norzad.
Right.
But I don't think they put, for example, again, knock on wood.
So you trust him to snap the football and block between his legs, but not just guard block?
Correct. I think Caliendo, because Caliendo isn't a center.
I'm saying that I think that Norzad could do both. If you can snap
I'm not saying he
and block,
can't do both.
right.
But I'm saying I think the Chiefs would probably. I mean, Caliendo was getting some first-team reps when Joe Tooney was out, right? Wanye was getting some too.
Right.
My point remains, I think they go to Caliendo if a guard goes down first. If a center goes down, if Creed goes down, then it's Norzad.
Gotcha.
I think they keep 10. Andy loves the big dudes up front. He likes having the extra beef.
Yeah.
Beef in case of emergency.
Yeah,
what
I could see 9. I said 8. I could see 9.
Yeah. CJ Hansen was more or less my
He's a draft pick too, so I could see you being completely right.
7th rounder, but that he was the only guy, and that was the only reason why I kept him on. Again, sunk cost guy over here, but still, I still think CJ Hansen is number 10. All right, Defense now. Chris Jones, Turk Wharton, Karloftis, Mike Dana, FAU. Do you have all 5 of those guys? I'm assuming you
Just
do.
the starters?
Chris Jones, Turk, Karloftis, Dana, FAU.
Yep.
Okay. I have 9 defensive linemen total. The next 4, Mike Pennell, Malik Herring, Derek Noddy. Oh, okay, you're nodding.
I have 9 too. I think
The final guy, Neil Farrell.
Oh, Malik Herring. Did you say Malik Herring already?
I said Malik Herring already, yeah.
So I went Dana, Felix, Pennell, obviously.
Yeah.
Jones, Karloftis. Malik Herring, Omenahue, and then
A minute he's on the. I have him on the pup
that's
list.
right. Yep. So then, then I would have Farrell.
Then
I
Farrell.
I forgot that he was pup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Farrell's my guy until basically
Exactly. So there you go.
a minute who gets
so
back.
we the same one. So
And even if you want to say B.J. Thompson, I'm assuming he's on the pup list as well. Both those guys. We'll start the season on that list. So for that reason, you're able to have
Farrell.
And I will also point out
Should have been Calais Campbell.
that you'll never let Calais Campbell
you
down.
know what? I get it. It's Miami, but I think he might have wanted a ring as well. We could have at least asked. Hopefully we did.
I don't disagree with you because you look at the defensive line right now.
It's
without a Minahu.
the one thing we struggled was stopping the interior run last year. The only reason the Ravens got absolutely beat up the next day in the media because it was, why are you throwing the football all over
Yeah,
the
they
place?
were
You
like,
didn't
6
run it.
times in the second half or
Yes.
overall.
And the
Whatever.
Bills
It was
put
crazy.
up 24 points. Should have been 27 if he makes the kick because they were running with James Cook. They were doing a good job of it. And I think that is the one, if there's a weakness on the defense, that's it, plus the fact that you lost L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah.
And I think that, messing around with a guy, just trying to figure out what someone's doing in Alabama the whole time instead of maybe calling on other people, I felt like was just a misuse of resources.
Sure.
So,
all right, linebackers. I kept 6. They kept 6 last year. 6 seems like a lot of linebackers, so I understand if most keep 5. Bolton Tranquil, Leo Chenal, Jack Conklin. I think those 4 are pretty much locks, right? Those 4 I think are locks. So basically you can either keep 2 guys here or there's 2 guys fighting for 1 spot. I'm excited to ask Matt Derrick about this, but Curtis Jacobs has shown, right?
Yep, he's highlighted. I have 5.
Yeah, so you have 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most will have 5.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you also... I know how. I think they keep 6. They had 6 last year. I think you go with Curtis Jacobs and Cam Jones. I'm going with Cam Jones sneaking in the back.
Over Christensen, basically?
Over Christensen. I think Cam Jones showed enough late in the year last year, got injured, working his way back right now, obviously. But I think he's also a special teamer as well.
Yeah.
So I think he adds that value.
That's the other thing we have to realize is you got to get fast guys, but not, it's going to be a different type of person that you're going to have to find for that new kickoff.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just going to be the old cookie cutter of special teams. You're going to have to figure out trial and error of what position, size, weight works at what spot. So, and I feel like linebacker is a good kind of.
And that's like both Jacobs and Cam Jones.
Yeah.
That's why I have 6 linebackers. So that's how I have that breaking down at LB. You just don't have Cam Jones. I do.
Yeah.
Let's go to the secondary, all right? Let's do a secondary total unless you want to do an actual breakdown of cornerback and safety. I just think that you're going to see some guys like Shamari Connor's going to make this a little more difficult.
Okay.
So secondary as a whole, I have 10. McDuffie, Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, Najee Johnson, Justin Reed, Brian Cook, Shamari Connor, Jaden Hicks. And then my last 2 guys, Kamal Haddon, right, 6th-rounder from Tennessee. And then I have Deion Bush. How many did you have in the secondary and who?
So is Kamal Haddon below Miles Battle on the depth chart that Nick Jacobs put out? Is that what I'm seeing here?
It looks like it. I still think he makes it over Miles Battle.
He's off. I got Trent McDuffie, Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, Najee Johnson, almost combined those 2. Echo Boydo, Jamari Connor, and Kelvin Joseph. And then my safeties are Reed, Cook, Hicks, Bush, and that's it.
Okay.
Because I feel like Connor again can do both.
Connor's going to be
He can do both.
is the wild one. So my two guys who I'm not comfortable about are Bush and Kamal Hatton, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to go Kelvin Joseph.
Yeah, I just went that route, veteran.
I like Kelvin
Seems
Joseph.
like he's always on a roster every year somewhere. So.
Yes. So I feel like Kelvin Joseph's probably making it. Again, it's Kelvin Joseph and Echo Boydo. If you know me, Dylan, huge Echo Boydo fan. I said it last year, and he proved me right last year.
He's moving up.
But I haven't heard him a ton this year. You've heard more Kelvin Joseph. I haven't heard Haddon hardly at all, by the way.
I mean, Nick Jacobs has him above Kelvin Joseph on the depth chart. So that's why I kept him. That's why I think Bodo. If I'm keeping Kelvin Joseph, that's kind of where I did this, is I kind of cheated and used Nick Jacobs' amazing little, unofficial, but certainly very close to official depth chart.
Sure.
And, so that's kind of where I'm looking at it.
So how many secondary members did you have as a whole? It sounded like you almost had 11.
I did, yeah.
You had 11, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where, I think you're prioritizing linebackers on kickoff. I was prioritizing defensive backs a little bit as well. But I think those are obviously always been special teams people. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be less wide receivers on the, coverage team.
Agreed. That's why I only have 6.
Right.
Butker, Ariza, Winchester, and then the pup list, Aminahu, B.J. Thompson. My just miss list were Kelvin Joseph, Echo Boydo, McCole Hardman, Irv Smith Jr. Those are my 4 guys that I think just missed.
Yeah, pretty similar. And I really still can't decide on the wide receivers. That was really my toughest decision. So, seems like we came out pretty similar here.
Look at this.
Look at that.
Look at this. It's like we do a radio show together. We'll take a break. We'll come back. I do want to talk a little bit about CeeDee Lamb, what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones and CeeDee Lamb getting into it a little bit on the X. And we'll also be joined by Matt Derrick for the entire 11 o'clock hour. We'll take a break. The Zone rolls on.
You already know how much stress that can cause in the
Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones on contract talks with CeeDee Lamb. Quote, I don't have any urgency to get it done. Then it looked like CeeDee Lamb, correct me if I'm wrong here, Dylan, sure looks like the real CeeDee Lamb. 365K followers. Quote tweets it and says, LOL. So things are going great in Dallas, right? Seems like things are going well. But what really is obnoxious is when folks come up with these horrendous trade options. Someone came up with this. I don't want to put them on blast. And it says, who says no? Chiefs receive CeeDee Lamb. Cowboys receive Rashee Rice, a 25 first-round pick, and a 26 first-round pick. The Chiefs would say no so damn quick. They didn't pay Tyreek Hill. Why would they give up 2 first-rounders and a rookie-controlled wide receiver who's damn good to turn around and pay CeeDee Lamb top-of-the-market money? Can we just have some nuance? Can we think before we put out a dumbass tweet? Come on! Matt Derrick next. Derek. What's up, playa?
What is up? You know what distinguishes a professional broadcaster from someone like myself? You and Jason and others are able to wear your headphones in a way that doesn't mess up your hair.
Really?
I have always had like
What
a
about me?
little.
You
I don't
always
ever
wear
mess up-
hats.
I don't mess up
Yeah.
my
I
hair
mean,
either.
And you're,
that's.
yeah, also true.
I mean, Dylan's a pro
Bald.
too. Dylan's a pro. But you can tell I'm an amateur broadcaster because take off my headphones. You can see where the headphones were. There's a ruffle.
I have never once noticed this. This is a Matt Derek.
Matt, if you're amateur, I'm rec league, so don't ever say that I'm a pro.
You're AAU,
I can see
baby.
Curtis is a pro.
There you go.
He's also bald, so it's not messing it up with his
He's
hair.
pro.
Me too. That's what I'm saying.
He's a pro.
Exactly.
You're just naming bald
Me?
people now.
You, not bald,
Not bald.
but are a pro.
Thank
I've
you.
never seen your hair ruffled after you've had headphones on.
Thank you. I take great pride in my lettuce.
The ozone really takes a hit every morning, but it works.
I do not use. Are you implying I
I'm
use
kidding.
hairspray?
I'm kidding.
Does anybody use hairspray anymore?
No.
I don't think
Hope
so.
not.
I hope not.
And who says no, by the way? I say no.
If any Chiefs fan that says yes to that, I'm sorry. Let Matt Derek enlighten you.
I don't know if I can enlighten you as much as that, why would you give up Rashee Rice and 2 first-round picks, which, if you want to bring the Tyreek Hill trade into consideration here in a comparison, you'd basically be giving up Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, and Rashee Rice for the opportunity to give CeeDee Lamb an obscene amount of money, which, as you pointed out, if you were going to do that, why would you have traded Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
And, hey, I mean, if CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson were on the free agent market, Chiefs would be interested. I don't think they'd be afraid to give somebody an obscene amount of money. They're just not going to give away 2 first-round picks for the opportunity. to
And a
give somebody
cost-controlled, very
an
good
obscene
wide
amount of
receiver.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to give up a 1,000-yard receiver, essentially. Rashee Rice, proportionally last year,
With 3 years of
would
team
have been.
control.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous.
Absurd. Asinine.
It's, once again, Who Says No has a 100% record in my book of always having a large number of people say no. Because anytime anyone says Who Says No, they have come up with something that in their mind is ideal for their side of the equation.
Yes. Cowboys fans would jump on that
Yes.
in a heartbeat.
Yes.
If they say no, they're a dumbass.
Who Says No? Chiefs trade a conditional 7th-round pick for Joey Bosa.
I don't know. That 7th rounder could be Isaiah Pacheco.
But it's conditional. See?
Good.
So,
Yeah, you're smart. I'm kidding, by the way. But your point remains. I'm shocked
Who
we've
says
not
no?
seen it. I'm
Who
shocked
says
we
no?
haven't seen a legit one of those yet. All right, 53-man roster time. You said you were listening to a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, by the way.
Of course.
We love our listeners, and sometimes we even let our listeners come on air.
I'm a long time, first time. I've never called into the show.
For long-time caller, first-time listener? Is that what it is? All right.
I don't come on here to test out my material for Jim Rome. So there's
Wow. Arugula. All right.
Well done.
that actually wasn't about you.
Felt like a shot.
No, it was not.
Felt like a shot. I also realize I have said lettuce already in this segment, so we can talk about Corvette guy next if you want to. All right, quarterbacks.
Yes.
We have 2.
Two,
Mahomes,
yes.
Carson.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Running back / fullback. Because I'm just all-encompassing here because
Yeah.
if Carson Steele is going to make the roster, I don't think it's exclusively as a fullback. I think he would potentially get a couple carries, maybe a little bit of a pass pro involved because he's the biggest of the guys. I wouldn't be shocked if all of a sudden there's an obvious passing down situation. They're like, Carson Steele,
Yeah.
you're Mahomes' bodyguard for this play. I could see that happening as well. So we both actually had Pacheco, CEH, Generic Prince, and Carson Steele making the roster. What did you have?
I am 3.
Okay.
And my case on that is that Carson Steele, and I say this fully believing that tomorrow night, you might see Carson Steele get 16 carries. I mean, he might get the bulk of the work tomorrow. I don't know. Generic Prince, I think, is going to get a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if you saw, Carson Steele. I even joked the other day. I mean, get ready for Carson Steele to have 16 carries and 32 yards rushing tomorrow night and a touchdown, and just completely confuse everybody. But one, is your fourth running back going to be active on game days? Probably not. Can a tight end, can Noah Gray fill in as your fullback for the however many snaps that
Sure.
you might use Carson Steele? Yeah, I mean, that's what the Chiefs did last year.
Yeah.
They used the tight end. Noah Gray was in there a lot.
How
in that
effective
spot.
was it?
I'm not saying it was terribly effective, but how effective is a guy who's never played fullback before going to be
Sure.
in that role?
Fair.
So to me, I think he's. I mean, I would want him on the practice squad, developmental project. If he can be a dual threat guy in the future, who can, I'm thinking like a Kim Landers kind of guy. I mean, if he can be a guy who becomes a fullback, that if you need to use him in the full, backfield in a pinch, you can do that.
Let's go ahead and say
But
Tony Richardson.
Tony Richardson's another good one.
Let's really
T.
go
Richardson's
for it. Yeah.
another good one. But I think he's just a year. I think he just needs some seasoning.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't necessarily disagree because he was my final guy on the roster, basically. It was between him and Irv Smith Jr. And my thought process, we'll go to tight ends here. I have 3 tight ends. I'm sure you have 4.
I do.
You have 4. So that means you have Irv Smith Jr., right?
Yep.
So that was my 1-for-1, actually. It was Irv Smith Jr. or Carson Steele.
Yeah.
My thought was Irv Smith Jr. is semi-redundant skill set-wise to Travis Noah and Jared Wiley. Blake Bell had a completely different skill set than those 3 guys. That was why he made sense on this roster in my mind. I don't see that with Irv Smith. I like him. I do like Irv Smith. If he makes the roster, I will have no qualms. And I do think it's between him and Carson Steele personally. I think Carson Steele, though, again, for the sake of short yardage situations, you're correct. Not played fullback before, but I think he would still be better than Noah Gray was on the short yardage situations. I think Carson Steele is a guy you might be able to give the ball to in a pinch, handoff situation, when you have guys like Generic Prince, never done it in the NFL. CEH, I like him, but we know what he is. And let's be real, what's going on? Is he going to miss a game or 2? Where's the mind space at? And then Pacheco. I like Pacheco, but he's been injured already a couple times, very physical, and early on in the season, playoff time, they unleash him. Early on in the season, they ain't giving him 25 touches a game. So can Carson Steele alleviate some of those concerns? I think he can. That was my thought process here.
And, I mean, and part of me, I'm going to grant you your special teams point because Irv Smith really hasn't played special teams since his rookie year. So, and I'm not seeing a lot of evidence that Dave Toub plans to use him a ton on special teams.
Sure.
So, we can bring him out of the equation. I think Carson Steele would be a better long-term, especially, probably even short-term, better special teams player and contributor. So that's probably part of it. I mean, I guess I see the tight ends a little bit differently. I see Travis Kelce and Jared Wiley as one flavor of tight end, and I see Noah Gray and Irv Smith in kind of a similar category, just because they're both undersized.
Sure.
Neither one of them are big guys. Is Noah Gray a competent blocker more so than the Noah Gray, or more so than Irv Smith? Yes, he is. Irv Smith hasn't been a great blocker in training camp, so I'm definitely going to give the edge to Noah Gray there. But, I mean, as far as a, red zone target goes, somebody in that sense, I really like Irv Smith. I mean, and in short yardage situations as a receiver, maybe you like Irv Smith over a Carson Steele. Because my one argument against Carson Steele as being useful in short yardage situations and helping you out is that, with some exceptions, Chiefs haven't been a very good short yardage offense regardless of anything under Andy Reid. I mean, just been a lot of inconsistency.
They don't QB sneaks, which is
they don't
hurts.
do QB sneaks, which maybe you're going to do this year with Carson. Maybe you'll just throw Carson Wentz out there to run a quarterback sneak every once in a while. Who knows? But they're a zone blocking team. I mean, normally you need to probably go man to man on man blocking when you're in short yardage situations. They weren't necessarily a great short yardage team when they had Anthony Sherman as a fullback. They were very inconsistent, and I don't think they're bad. I think they're inconsistent. And then you're talking about being better with a fullback in short yardage situations. Yet Sterling, I'm consistently told, why would you take the ball out of the hands of the best quarterback on the planet?
Well, I don't want to take the hands off the best quarterback of the plane. I don't want to take the hands off him.
Ball in my hands in the wrong place there.
Dylan, you got to mark that. Dylan.
No.
Dylan, that was...
no.
Dylan, no, roll over, Dylan. Roll over.
Oh, I was hoping Dylan wasn't back there.
He was back.
Dear.
He's doing actual work back there in the back end.
That's what he should be doing.
You got to
Should be
mark
doing.
that.
No, that does not.
Are you serious, Dylan?
dear.
That was an all-timer for Matt Derrick.
Oh dear.
What'd you say?
I'm not going to even come close to repeating that.
You
But
sure?
Why would you take the ball out of the hands of Patrick Mahomes
Sure. I don't disagree.
and put it in the hands of Carson Steele?
Fourth and inches, I'm just like a QB sneak is more or less my thought process
There you
here.
go.
And also, can we use Carson Wentz for those, Matt? Can
That's
we
what,
do a
that's
QB
what we're
sneak?
saying. Yeah.
That's a good point.
All right. So a little, again, not friendly banter in regards to Irv Smith
Yes,
Jr.
I'm not,
and
I'm
Carson
not hating.
Steele.
Not
Yeah.
hating. No.
Again, special teams. Dylan and I have talked about with the new rules. Maybe I'm giving too much credence to guys that could play special teams. That's also
I don't think
a
you
fair.
are. I mean, I think you are giving appropriate weight. So
Okay. Thank you. Wide receivers. I have 6. How many do you have?
I had 7, and
Wow.
I'm still not feeling good about it, and still not sure what we're watching out there. That is one hard group to. When you've got like 11 guys getting first team reps at receiver, how do you sort it out?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I got a first team rep at one point. They just said, "Yeah, suit up."
Exactly.
Get a
If you were
first
on
team
the
rep.
if you were on the
Yeah.
sideline and looked like a wide receiver, you were in.
12-year-old
you were
kid
getting
was like,
reps.
"First team
Yeah.
rep, get in there."
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hollywood, Rice, Worthy, Watson. Those 4 we all have.
I am 100% on all 4 of those.
Okay, same. Nico Remigio. I'm all in because I think that's Dave Tobe's guy. I think Dave Tobe gets him on, and again, special teams in general with the potential for 2 kickoff returners specifically.
You've got to have 2.
So I'm going with Nico Remigio.
Yeah.
So we agree on the 5.
I am. I'm not 100% on Nico.
Sure.
I'm a little bit because I always say when you're trying to figure out and you're looking at who's going to make the team, trust your eyes. Trust what you see. Trust who's getting the snaps. Don't just, don't let your heart get too much into it or your, feeling about who a player is, over at that. And Nico, the reason I'm giving him the advantage is because of what you just said. I think he is going to be the kick returner. I think that's the guy that Dave Tobe really wants to be in that role. So he's probably going to be one of those guys. Even though my eyes are telling me, wait a minute, probably some other guys are getting, and I know from looking at the numbers, other guys are getting more reps with the ones. But I think special teams takes the precedence there.
Yeah, it's a Dave Tobe choice.
It's a Dave Tobe thing.
Who are your last 2? Then, because you have 7, I have 6. I went back and forth very hard. I think Tony is done. I'm sorry. I think Kadarius Toney is everything I've heard, seen. I'm out. I'm
You're
sorry.
out.
I'm out.
It's Shark Tank, and you're not buying.
I'm Mark Cuban. I'm out.
You're
It's a sunk cost. I'm done. Mr. Wonderful. So then I think it comes down to Justin Ross, who's getting a lot of red zone work, who's looked beautiful in sometimes in the red zone. McCole Hardman, who's the veteran, who's been there, done that. And then Sky Moore, who's on a rookie contract, who, again, I've said I think it's mostly mental. Doesn't mean that he's going to turn it around. But his rookie year, he was making some plays and showing the emotion and the passion. We're all sitting here going, I can't wait for the emergence of Sky Moore. And then last year happened, and it looked like he was just confusing himself. He didn't trust himself. Every single route that he was running, he tried to run so fine. It's almost like he was running a practice route rather than a game route because he didn't have any sort of feel. Can he get the feel? I have Sky Moore making it because of the rookie contract, because I think that it behooves the Chiefs for him to make the roster, quite frankly. I think Justin Ross is a practice squad guy. I think McCole Hardman, I don't know. I think he gets probably picked up by another team. That's my initial thought right here on August 9th.
I mean, I feel like from watching practice, watching the numbers, watching where the ball goes, watching the snaps, talking to people about just what the trust level and what the thought is on different people. I mean, it's not my feeling. I mean, if I were making this team, I think it would be lower, but I'm pretty convinced that the Chiefs view this as their 5th receiver is Sky Moore. Like I said, I'm not sold on that, but that's what it looks like.
So I'm correct, is what you're saying.
I think Sky Moore's making this team. I mean, it's not 100%. Things can still
Sure.
change, but I would say that right now he looks like their 5th receiver.
Dylan, can we get a bumper of Sterling was right or
Well,
something?
It's not going to last long because you're not going to like what I say next.
And that's the show. Yeah. Okay.
Because the 6th receiver, I'm fairly certain would be McCole Hardman. He just gets a lot of work. And here's the other thing about Hardman, because when we didn't see Xavier Worthy, we saw a ton of McCole Hardman. And the question's going to be is that if, one, you've got concerns that Xavier Worthy can't hold up to a full season, or two, you just have, rookie concerns that he can't handle the full playbook yet. I mean, that's a normal belief with every rookie. I mean, last year, Rashee Rice really couldn't handle the whole full playbook, but the Chiefs got to a point where it was just like, we're just going to put you out there every snap at the part of the playbook you're comfortable with because we need somebody out there to catch the football, and you're the only one that can do it. So you're going to play. I mean, I think McCole Hardman's going to be handcuffed to Xavier Worthy. He's your Xavier Worthy insurance. That if you lose Xavier Worthy for any point in time, or you just feel like there's things that he's not getting, McCole is your backup to him, and there's nobody else that can do that. Now with Sky, I think you guys were talking about this. He redundant. I don't think with Worthy he is. I mean, I think Sky.
He was saying with Remigio. He was saying.
Oh, it's Remigio. Okay,
that's what Dylan was saying.
Because I think Sky is more, of a backup for Hollywood and Rashee more than he is.
I think
Worthy.
If he's a slot receiver, I think he can be a viable NFL. Yeah. Again, I'm not saying good, but I'm saying viable. I'm almost like the Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if you will. Like, do you want him in there as a starter? No, but if he goes in and takes a couple of snaps, can he potentially be in the right spot and make a play? Yeah, I think he could.
Yeah. So then, I mean, and let's say that's your sixth. I think the question is, one, obviously, do you keep a seventh? I think the Chiefs probably will. Who is that seventh? I mean, to your point, if you look at it from a sunk cost standpoint, it's Kadarius Toney. You've already spent the money.
Yeah.
If you let him go, you're just putting $2.5 million on fire.
Yeah.
Because
But it's a sunk cost. It
makes guaranteed. You're paying him that regardless.
It might make your team. Yeah. You're paying him regardless. It might make your team better if he's not there.
But it's like, are you going to get somebody that's better than Kadarius Toney, or in your eyes? Because the Chiefs still believe in him. And now, once again, the eyes belie that because he's getting almost as many snaps with the threes as he does with the ones.
Sure.
It doesn't make any sense the way that the Chiefs have been using Kadarius Toney. And I'm sure part of that is because he didn't have any offseason. He wasn't there for OTAs, any of that. So that was probably a factor. And now he's dinged up again. Yeah. So, there's always that question. So one hand, if it was purely money, you'd say it's Kadarius Toney because you don't want to waste the $2.5 million. If it comes down to snaps and what I've seen, Justin Ross gets work with the ones. Now, it's a lot of fades. It's a lot of, one routes, but those are some important routes. There's a lot of work in the red zone. Maybe that's enough to do it. He's would be the favorite there. If it comes down to special teams, it's Nico Remigio.
Yeah.
So, you've got really for that seventh potential spot, you got four choices. Which one the Chiefs are going to choose? I don't know. We're still, I think, too far away to know for sure.
Yeah.
Right now, I would take Remigio.
I think what's so hard for me when we're talking about 7 wide receivers on a roster, wide receiver 5 and 6 is hardly getting in the game. They hardly do. Now, you can also make the case that I'm talking about keeping 10 offensive linemen. That's Andy Reid likes his beef in the middle, right? We know that Andy Reid likes a lot of offensive linemen, a lot of versatility, and we'll get to them in a second. I get they're not really playing. I understand that thought process behind it. But for me, you're not really getting a lot from Sky Moore in a game. How many snaps is Justin Ross going to play? For all the hype that he got last year, how many targets did he get last year? How many receptions did he get last year? Again, I just don't want to be fooled again, right? I got fooled once. I wasn't saying he was going for a K, but I'm like, could he get like 350 yards? I was like, yeah, I could see Justin Ross 350 last year. He got what, 30, 50?
Yeah.
It was not a lot, right?
Yeah.
I got fooled.
Yeah.
I'm not getting fooled again. Call me the Who, okay? Can't get fooled again. Bubba O'Reilly. So, for that reason, I think he's a practice squad guy. Maybe you think that he gets picked up by another team if he's not on the 53. I don't know your thoughts there.
I'm pretty confident that he would get through the 53 because of all these reasons. An entire season on the 53 with very little production. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of teams that would still just have him completely crossed off their list because they were already worried about the back.
Sure.
And we're never going to consider him coming out of the draft. Now, he's had a couple of foot procedures too. So, there's a lot of teams for the medical reasons would just probably cross him off. That might be half the league for all I know.
Yeah.
Could be more than that. Who would just say, we're not touching Justin Ross. We're not going to put him on our 53. We might sign him to a practice squad if he becomes available, but I just don't think. And that's the thing. I mean, when you get down to your 6th, 7th receivers and your 4th running backs and all of these things, very rarely, especially if they're undrafted guys, they don't get claimed. Now, the only player I think that is on this team that's in that position I might differ on a little bit is on the defensive side with like an Echo Boydo, because there were teams that were interested in him last year.
Agreed.
So if and corners are different. I mean, they do get claimed. That can happen. I mean,
Hey,
especially
Travarius
undrafted
Ward,
guys.
baby.
You like them.
Parker
exactly.
Anger.
Exactly. I mean, and for sure, Travarius Ward was going to get cut. He was going to get waived.
Sure.
And the Chiefs this was the guy that they liked. They knew he wasn't going to make it to them on the waiver wire, so the only way they could do it was go out and make a trade.
Well, and also with the Chiefs' ability to perpetually identify, develop cornerbacks, I'm sure teams see whoever the Chiefs cut in the secondary going, well, they picked him for a reason. They have a damn deep group. He just didn't make it because of the depth over there. We should probably take a flyer on that guy. It's almost like the Rays or like the Dot. Just there's certain teams, even like to an extent the Steelers when they identify and draft a wide receiver, it's probably going to be a good wide receiver. It's kind of like the Chiefs with corners.
Yeah, I mean, you got the stink of Dave Merritt on you for a year. That's another. If this organization liked you well enough to pick you up or draft you, and then you've got Dave Merritt coaching you for a year, that's going to be enough for a lot of teams to say, okay, yeah, we'll take a chance on this guy. And like I said, there were some teams interested in him last year. That's why he got promoted to the 53 at the end of the season.
With the Chiefs going with 7 last year and the debacle that it was, now these are almost, I don't want to say all, but a lot of new faces, but we're still talking about 6 and 7, 5, 6 and 7 to an extent being the same guys. Being the same guys from last year. Now they were a lot of times talk about being the 1, 2, and 3, and now they're moving down to the 5, 6, 7.
That's the difference to me.
Okay,
that's the difference to me, because we were talking last year about the Chiefs keeping 7, and that was because Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney were starters. This year they're not. I mean, one or both of those guys might not even make this team.
Yeah.
I mean, but if they do, they're both in that 5, 6, 7 range. They're not starters this year. They're not viewed that way. So. No, I mean, to me, it's a completely different group, and it's so much more top-heavy than it was a year ago.
Yeah, agreed. This is a much more envious spot to be in if you are Patrick Mahomes throwing the football.
Yes.
It's a lot better. All right, let's go to offensive line. We'll take a break after that, and we'll hit the defense after. But offensive line, I kept 10. I'm starting to look more at maybe I keep 9 and add McCole Hardman so the Chiefs have 7 wide receivers. I'm kind of I've wavering on this one. But Kingsley, Jawan Taylor, Creed, Trey Smith, Joe Tooney. Okay?
Yes.
Wanye Morris.
Yes.
Hunter Norzad.
Yes.
Mike Caliendo.
Yes.
Lucas Niang.
Yes.
Do you have 9 or 10?
I had 9, but I will tell you this. My last move that I made after I set my 53 and re-looked at it and everything and went back over all that, I'm like, I mean, Irv Smith, I think, has made the case. And this was at a particular when Irv Smith was playing really, really well. So
sure.
this was a week ago. So
is he still playing well?
He's still playing well. I don't think he was at the level that he was a week ago. I mean, and that can be just luck. I mean,
sure.
Where the ball's going and everything. And because of the injury situation, I mean, they had Isaiah Gathings just go down, so we're getting a new tight end. So the Chiefs don't have a ton of tight ends. So basically, your third string tight ends until they get Jorquarius Spivey up to speed. Your third string tight ends are Irv Smith and Baylor Cobb. Well, your fourth string quarterbacks know, oh, hey, wait a minute, I got Irv Smith on the field, ball's going his way. So he gets a lot of catches.
Sure.
Carson Wentz has figured out, oh, wait a minute, I got Irv Smith on the field, ball's going his way. I mean, he's become reliable enough to all 3 of those quarterbacks.
Well, he's a legit NFL tight end.
Yeah,
and
there's plenty of times when he is the best pass catcher on the field. So your quarterback, first place you're going to look is the comforting hands of Irv Smith because he catches almost everything. I mean, he's reliable. So there's that. So it came down to me and was like, okay, do I want a veteran backup tight end or do I want to take C.J. Hansen and try and sneak him onto the practice squad? Because I don't know that. C.J. would be the third interior lineman.
Correct.
So you got Hunter Norzad, you got Mike Caliendo. If you can,
and maybe even Wanye Morris to an extent.
You've got some flexibility in the interior. So it's like, if I can sneak C.J. Hansen on the practice squad, I could still go both ways with that.
Okay.
I mean, I could fill out my 53 today, and I could flip those two. It's a 50-50 to me.
7th rounder was from Holy Cross.
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. I mean, what are the chances of him going to the practice squad? Because I feel like it would be high, but that was kind of my thought process as well, is he going to get picked up? I also was having this, I don't want to say it was a debate, but a conversation with Dylan. You know, he said that, maybe Caliendo might be a little redundant as well since you spent the capital on Norzad. They like him as the backup center. Wouldn't that also mean they would like him as the backup guard? I said if a guard goes down, I think Caliendo's the first guy up.
Right, he is.
So
either one of those positions, any of those interior positions, I think Mike Caliendo's the first guy.
even if center, like again, hopefully it doesn't happen.
Creed went down. Yeah, I think Caliendo would probably be your first guy up
over Norzad. Okay,
yeah, just because of experience and just knowledge of the offense and everything. I mean, Norzad's probably the better center, I would say.
Sure.
I'd give Caliendo the edge at guard, but I think they'd probably go with the experience.
How long do you think that lasts? Do you think throughout the season that could change?
That's a good question. I mean, it could. And remember, I mean, right now the only one of those guys that you have under contract for next year is Joe Thuney. And Joe Thuney is a salary cap question for next year with that $26.9 million cap hit.
Ugh.
So, you're still at the possibility that you are going to have one or two, I think, openings on that offensive line next year. If that's the case,
it makes C.J. Hansen more
imperative
that he's at least.
It makes Mike Caliendo critical too. I mean,
or even Wanya if he's going to be good at guard.
I mean, I don't think you want to lose any of those guys.
Are those reps looking good in their eyes from Wanya at guard? Do they like him there too, as well as tackle?
I mean, the amount that they're putting him out there, it really feels more of just a hedge your bets.
Gotcha.
Sure.
As far as it goes, kind of see what maybe he looks like if you wanted to move him there, if you really felt like you were set at tackle.
Because he played it a bit in college, basically.
Yeah, and a little bit of cross training. I mean, a little bit of, hey, you get into a situation, let's face it. I mean, there might be some weeks that you maybe for injury purposes, you only have 8 offensive linemen active that week.
Yeah.
And you need, maybe Wanya to be your number 2 interior lineman. So I think it's much more of that than what it is right now, a serious position change.
Gotcha.
And are you convinced that Kingsley is the week 1 starter?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, riddle me this. When was the last time that you can think of an NFL team holding a practice on August 1st, that late into the year, where their starting week 1 left tackle was playing guard?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, you'd have to scratch your noodle for a while.
I'm going to have to Mekhi Becton, maybe.
I mean, there's just no way that makes any sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm with you.
unless Kingsley just goes out there and just absolutely looks terrible in a few preseason games, no, I think he's nailed it down. I don't expect it to happen either. So,
how much did his lineage of having family in the NFL help you think? I think that was massive for him to know what it takes, because one of his first quotes was, "We're friends, but this is business out here." And right then I kind of knew I think he's got a real good shot.
Yeah, I mean, that absolutely, I think has to help you as far as understanding what an NFL locker room works like and
what to expect,
just how the business is. Yeah, I mean, I think it absolutely prepares
Mahomes,
you.
right? I mean, I think Mahomes is a great
the same
example
way.
of this.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to finish the defense on the other side with Matt Derrick right here on The Zone.
music, I feel like it's football season.
We are so damn close. Tomorrow, preseason football.
There you go.
6
Had some on
p.m.
TV last night.
What was that?
We had football on TV last night. Some preseason football.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. All right. Before we get to the defense, you and I were chatting there, and it's hilarious. We're talking about wide receiver 5 and 6, and maybe 7. We're talking about will they have a 4th tight end or a 10th offensive lineman, whilst the other teams are sitting here going, who's our starting tackle? Who's our wide receiver 1? Who's our damn quarterback?
Yeah.
It's pretty good here in Kansas City.
We had some people coming into camp this week from out of town to, hit other camps and everything. And it was just the stark reminder that this might be the most boring camp in the NFL because, one, there's no fights. Nothing happens like that. We get excited because, hey, there's some pushing and shoving. I mean, Drew Tranquil and Isaiah Pacheco are shouting at each other, and then, of course, they're laughing about it.
In pass protection.
And then, hey, this guy threw a football at this guy. And, it's like, I mean, there's other teams that actually have knockdown, drag-out brawls where they're throwing punches on the field.
Apparently, DK Metcalf was swinging a helmet around.
Yeah, doesn't happen in Kansas City. Doesn't happen because if you do that in Andy Reid, practice, if you're like an undrafted guy and you get into a spot like that, 50-50 chance, your locker's cleaned out when you get up the hill. So, that's not going to happen in Andy Reid camp. And, and then there's no position battles that matter. Left tackle's decided. So everything we're all talking about at that point is, it's depth chart. It's who's the 6th and 7th cornerbacks and everything. There's nothing to decide on this team. It's it's important to the guys. There's some battles at the very end of the roster, but other than that, there's no once left tackle was pretty much wrapped up. There's no starting position. The only one that's still up in the air is a cornerback.
Yeah.
And that's just who can stay the healthiest the longest, I think, at this point.
About what it seems like. Let's do that, actually. Let's start with the secondary and move our way up. Let's talk about
there you go.
Let's talk about cornerback. The little guys need love, too.
That's right.
Right? Come on now. Do you want to do an all-encompassing secondary? Do you want to break it down position by position? Because I think it's a little difficult in regards to Shamari Connor. Is he listed as a safety? Is he going to be listed as a cornerback because he's playing slot corner?
That's just a bad name for a position, a slot corner, because it's not on the corner. It's just the slot.
It's just a slot.
And some teams slot guy is a safety, and some teams it's a corner. And okay, I don't know why the Chiefs listed him as a cornerback on the depth chart because not a corner, he's a safety.
Yeah.
You watch practice. Who does he take drills with? He's with the safeties.
Okay, then we'll break it down.
When he's not in the slot, what's he playing? He's the safety.
How many safeties do you have, including Shamari Connor?
You know what? This is where listening to you guys, you've made a compelling point to me, and it's pointed out an observation that fits in with everything else that I'm saying that I should be paying attention to, because I have four safeties, with the philosophy that hey, you can get Deion Bush as one of your veterans on the practice squad. I think there's probably 3 or 4 veterans that the Chiefs could get on the practice squad and just have a different, veteran elevated every single week that they need to for special teams purposes. And
sure,
it'd almost be like having a 54th roster spot. So I have Deion off and on the practice squad. But I tell you what, it just reminds me, I'm watching special teams and he's a starter on pretty much every special team. So it's like, maybe I just need to go ahead and put him on there because there's one spot I'm not completely and totally sold on in the secondary. I think the Chiefs are going to keep 10 total. Yeah. And I've got it 6 and 4 right now. I could very compellingly make a 5 and 5 case for Deion.
Yeah, I have 5 and 5. I have 10. I have Reed, Cook, Connor, Hicks, Bush. This is the nicest you've ever been to me, by the way. I love this. I love that you've said multiple times that after listening to you guys,
you made a very compelling point.
Thank you. I should be a lawyer.
You should have. And whenever you're right, you should just say lawyered.
Lawyered.
There you go.
Well, Seth Kaiser's already has a Chiefs lawyer. He already has that on lock, it seems like. I have 5 again. Special teams. That's kind of the thought process for me. Reed, are you concerned at all about the injury?
Nah, no. Even if it lingers on a little bit, he's going to be ready at some point this season. Your only hope is that it's not something that just continues to bother him, that they're going to let him just get as close to 100% as he can be. But nobody seems to be concerned that it's going to be season ending or anything of that potential. But Could it keep him out all of the preseason and maybe week 1? Nobody seems to know.
Yeah. Cornerbacks, McDuffie, Watson, Williams. Those 3 seem like a lock, obviously. Whoa.
And I'd throw Najee in there.
Okay, I was going to say Najee, yeah. I thought
yeah.
you're waffling on if there were locks between Watson and Williams. I was shocked.
No, I mean, it's once again, well, it gets into my bubble of, who's who and what bubble and everything. Because at corner, I mean, Chiefs have, there's the McDuffie bubble. He's in by himself.
Yes.
And then you've got the Watson, Williams, Johnson bubble.
Sure.
And then, I think there's almost a Kelvin Joseph bubble. Because I think that he's just maybe just a little bit behind those guys, but not far enough behind those guys. And then you have a bunch of other guys.
So I have McDuffie, Watson, Williams, Najee Johnson.
There you go.
And my 5th, it was tough. Can you get Kelvin Joseph as your veteran onto the practice squad? I don't know at this point. Echo Boydo, I want on this roster so damn bad. I love Echo Boydo. I don't see how you do. Unless you have him over Kamal Hadden, which I have to go to you on this. I've not heard Kamal Hadden's name hardly at all. Is he making this roster?
It's a really good question because at this point, I mean, his work has almost been strictly with the 3s. And so I would say that if you're looking at snaps and you're looking at who's getting the work over who, I mean, I would say he's behind Boydo, he's behind Joseph, he's behind I would say he's behind Keith Taylor. I'd say he's behind Miles Battle. Now the question's going to be this week. I mean, this is the week when things change. So all the training camp and the reps that we've seen to this point, things get shuffled after this first preseason game. I mean, it really starts to get when this team gets back to St. Joe on Monday, we're going to see practice, and it's going to look much more similar in what the 53 is going to look like.
41 is the Mike guest. Sorry to cut you off. 41 is the Mike guest. Michael Lombardi actually recently said that it's hilarious. They all joke in NFL circles that before the first preseason game, how are we going to cut down this roster turns into after basically what Matt is saying right here, which is we've seen now that it's going to be easy to cut down this roster.
There you go. I mean, that's what happens. We're going to show up on Monday, and a guy that's been getting a lot of reps is all of a sudden going to be in the 3s, and somebody that we haven't been talking a lot about all of a sudden is getting all the reps somewhere. And great examples at running back. I mean, Clyde, the last couple of weeks, hasn't been getting much work to the point where you could be asking yourself, where's Clyde? But I think it's because they want to get Derek Prince as much rep as possible. They've wanted to evaluate Carson Steele. They've wanted to evaluate Keontae Ingram. So they're getting a bunch of other guys. Look, because they know Clyde. They know what Clyde can do. There's no reason, for Clyde to be taking up a bunch of training camp reps when they know what he is, but they don't know anything about some of these other guys. So give them the work. I'm fully expecting that probably Monday, Clyde's probably going to be back up at number 2 or number 3. Maybe they still give Prince a lot of work, but that's just how it is. So, and corner, to me, this game is going to decide a lot.
Yeah. Because
if you are not good in this game, I mean, if you're Kamal Hadden and, you don't look good in this game, you're probably pretty much writing your ticket for the practice squad, So that's probably true for quite a few of these guys. So, I mean, and there could be somebody who's been playing pretty well. I mean, Kelvin Joseph's not going to play in this game because he's been banged up.
Yeah, how bad is this for him? Because he had been getting so much talk, so much run, looked great, and then he gets banged up.
It hurts.
Missing preseason game 1. When you're on the roster bubble, can they sneak him to the PUP list, or what's your most likely outcome here?
I mean, depending on how severe it is, and right now it doesn't look to be that severe.
Sure.
So maybe it's simply a matter of getting him past this first preseason game, and then he's back to work on Monday. He's had a little bit of time off. If not, I mean, if it's something that's going to keep him all the way to the 3rd or even the beginning of the season, I mean, you can't, if you put a guy on injured reserve now, they're done. I mean, there's not really, there's technically one scenario, but you basically can't bring him back later. If, you wait until the beginning of the season, if it's something that's going to keep him out for a while and you can put him on IR, you can do that in week 1. No other options. I mean, PUP is not an option at this point or anything like that. So, how do you handle that? I mean, you need to get him on the field at some point. I mean, that's the only thing, is that he needs to be able to prove what he can do in his defense, because the other guys have had that chance, and these guys are going to get a chance. We'll see. I mean, I don't know how much Jalen Watson might play tomorrow night, how much Najee. I mean, we might end up seeing Joshua Williams and then it might go just straight to the twos. I mean, we might skip basically 3 corners.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden we're going to see, Echo Boydo and Miles Bell, which now means it's a great opportunity for those guys.
Yes.
Because they're going to get a ton of work,
That's
ton
how
of reps.
Echo Boydo shined last
Yeah,
year.
exactly. So great opportunity if you're like a Keith Taylor, because you and Kelvin Joseph kind of came in as the same guy. Now he's out. This is your chance to prove what you can do.
Linebackers. I had 6. They had 6 last year. I could easily make the case of going for 5 and adding an extra secondary member, a.k.a. Echo Boydo. But again, I think with special teams playing such an impactful role, and I think they have a little tougher decision at the bottom of the linebacker roster crunch rate, because you have Bolton, Tranquil, Chanel. Those 3 guys, yes.
Yeah.
Jack Conklin, yes.
Yes.
They love Curtis Jacobs. That's been a guy I've been hearing his name thrown up a ton. But don't forget Cam Jones.
Do not forget Cam Jones. Do not, because he's making this roster.
So you're convinced with Cam
I'm
Jones?
almost 100. I mean, he's the guy that I almost would put him into 100% category.
Okay.
I mean, he is. I think that honestly, I mean, he can play all 3 positions, but I mean, he's right behind Jack Cochran as being a backup Mike. I mean, he could potentially handle that and everything. And so I think that's going to help him out. I mean, he's the fastest of all those guys, especially from a special team standpoint, most experienced from that standpoint. Remember how good he looked in Week 18 last year? Had that fantastic game, 12 tackles. I think he's 100%. The real battle to me has been, kind of between Curtis Jacobs and Swayze Bozeman as kind of that, who's can be the guy to maybe compete for that 6th spot. Now Bozeman's got the knee injury, so that probably really boosts Jacobs.
But he has a great name, though.
Has a great name. I think that there was probably, because it looked like that on the defensive side they favored Swayze over Jacobs, but from a special team standpoint favored Jacobs over Swayze. So it was close, but now with the injury, I mean, Jacobs I think is a pretty good shot at that. I still think they only keep 5, but it's possible. I'm not going to rule it out.
Yeah. Again,
Cole Christensen's an option too.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But he's another guy that's a veteran, doesn't have to go through waivers, so you can get him on the practice squad.
And again, Jacobs was, that's almost all special teams. That was the special teams lock for me. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Matt Derrick, defensive line, as we wrap up. I guess special teams too. Come on, we can't forget about James Winchester.
Those non-fights for the special teams jobs?
The major fights for those 3 spots.
We've had 2 of the 3 on the podium, so we need to get Winchester on the podium.
Uh-oh, he's not. What does that say?
It's an insult to long snappers is what I'm saying.
Take a break. Come back. More Zone next.
they're hurting. I mean, they need more depth. It will look better when Minihue comes back, but what are the odds that you're going to make it till Minihue coming back without any other injuries on that D-line? Not great. So that's why I'm like, that's the one area that they really need to beef up a little bit. Because if you had Truman Jones on your practice squad as a backup, even if you had Malik Herring on your practice squad as a guy that you could bring in case of a breaking glass in case of emergency, that'd be a lot better situation than you're at right now.
FAU. Where do you think he does? How do you think he does this year?
I think he does well. I mean, I would put his over/under on sacks. I'm going to put it like 6.5.
Ooh, that's tasty.
And if that were the number, I'd be tempted to go over. I mean, I think he's going to have a good year.
Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. Check it out, ChiefsDigest.com. Always appreciate it.
Always.
Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you again to Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. Make sure you check out all his great work at ChiefsDigest.com as well as at Matt Derrick on the X. We were laughing right there. It is so funny. We're talking about linebacker 5 and 6, the very tail end of the defensive line and cornerback room. Will they keep 6 or 7 wide receivers? Will Andy go back and keep a fullback on the roster? While you hear the Raiders trying to figure out who their damn quarterback is. The Broncos, who the quarterback is. It's just hilarious when you realize the issues very mildly, the Chiefs have compared to other teams. So minuscule, it absolutely is hilarious. And I do think this is the best, or should I say deepest, Chiefs team in the Mahomes era. Offense, defense. I believe that this is the deepest team we've seen since Mahomes took over at quarterback. He's got weapons offensively, offensive line, very, very solid. Obviously, tackles I don't think are quite as good as the, Fisher and Schwartz. But overall, you look at the interior, you look at the defense. This is a very balanced, good team. All right, I had an interview I did with Kwity Paye, the Colts defensive end, a couple weeks ago. I want to play this. Kwity Paye, if you don't know him, heading into his 4th year with the Indianapolis Colts, really coming on strong. He is a up-and-coming, blossoming stud edge rusher. He gives a lot of love to Kansas City, and what's funny is in this interview I have with him, I don't bring up Kansas City. He has no idea I'm from Kansas City. And I just find it fascinating when we talk, and I ask, who did you grow up watching and idolizing? It's a certain Chiefs player, certain name that he drops that is going to make all of you guys very happy. So here is Colts edge rusher, the interview I did with him, Kwity Paye. Joined now by Colts defensive end Kwity Paye. Kwity, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for having me.
I do have to say something. If you're watching on video, everyone, he's got a nice painting behind you. I like that right there, Kwity. That's solid.
Appreciate that.
I do want to give a huge shout out because Kwity is here thanks to New Campbell's Chunky Spicy Nashville-style hot chicken soup. Big flavor with southern heat and bold ingredients. 13 grams of protein, seasoned with delicious spices and cayenne pepper sauce. The soup contains big hunks of chicken meat, red peppers, potatoes, and onions. Coming to shelves soon. Kwity, have you had a chance to try this yet?
Oh, yes, sir. I was trying it all this morning.
Oh, dude, I'm jealous, man. How is it? That sounds right down my alley. I'm a spice guy. I'm a spicy man.
Yeah. For me, I feel like I'm kind of going through this phase right now where I just want like everything spicy and everything with heat. So, it's a great meal for sure. And, lots of protein packed into the meal, after a workout. It's a great meal to get in and, just get after it, man.
Yeah. I do want to start here. I know you were a running back and defensive end in high school. Was there ever a thought of, nah, man, I'm running back. I'm going to be an RB. I'm going to college. Screw defensive end. Give me the ball. Did you ever think about that?
Yeah, that was my thought initially. When I first came in as a freshman, all freshmen had to play freshman football, and I was a safety and running back. And then my sophomore year, I moved up to varsity, and then my defensive coordinator, he was like, bro, you're not playing safety, bro. You're way too big to be back away from all the action, bro. Like, at least play linebacker. So I tried playing linebacker, outside linebacker. He was like, maybe DN. And then from there, just took off. I was real raw as a sophomore, though. But I was back there getting tackles, getting TFLs, and he was like, yeah, no, this is where you're supposed to be. So, from there, just took off. So shout out Coach Green at Hendricken, man.
Oh, that's great. I do want to give a shout out to your Michigan Wolverines for winning the college football playoff right there. Do you ever give a hard time to Tyquan Lewis, who went to Ohio State and obviously defensive end with you with the Colts as well?
Oh, yeah, for sure. This past year, Tyquan had to wear he wore a Charles Woodson Michigan jersey. So, it's been great, every single year. And then my first 2 years, Paris Campbell was there. So I was just in there talking smack all 3 years, So it's been great, man. It's been amazing, to see Michigan turn it around and, start whipping those state every year.
You didn't want to get Harbaugh to get you a couple carries at RB? Didn't want him to give you a couple carries in college?
Nah, I thought about it, but, just coming as a freshman, like, defensive end was a load enough, going to college football. So, as that, I was just like, no, I'm just cool playing DN.
How hard was it to transition from college to the NFL? Obviously, Michigan, a premier program, as they just won, obviously, but Power 5, they've been good a long time now, so they should be along the lines of getting you prepared, but still, that has to be a big transition. What is something about maybe the average fan doesn't understand about making that leap from college to the NFL?
I think Michigan does a real good job of preparing you as far as, like, going into a game, evaluation, scouting reports, and stuff like that. I think the biggest jump I had to make was, like, on the field adjustments. Just knowing, like, what the offense is giving me and what sets I'm getting, how to switch it up, stuff like that. Because in college, however old lineman sets on film, that's how he's going to set in the game for the whole game. So you can really set up your moves. But when you get to NFL, they'll switch it up, play action, pass. Everything kind of looks the same where, like, you don't really know. So, like, watching film is real big, just to get little keys, formations, kind of play faster. So it's almost like a guessing game, but it's more instinctive guessing. So, like, you just know what's coming and then just playing off of that. In college, it's kind of just like you can just play and, like what you see on film is what you'll get in game. But, the offensive coordinators do a great job of mixing everything up, having different looks from the same formations. And,
Yeah, I have to imagine that's a little different. You've gone up against a team like, let's say, the Chiefs, for example. You see all that motion in the backfield. You got to be, what is going on right now?
Exactly, yeah.
I will say you are 1-0 against the Chiefs, so I think that's going at least okay for you right there. I always say rookie year to second year, right? That, to me, is the biggest I don't want to say transition, but that's where you see a lot of edges, and I would say tackles offensively. That's where you can really start judging these types of players. I think wide receivers, running back, sometimes you see them as a rookie. They come on strong. Edge rushers and tackles, it seems like it's that second year where things really start to click. Was that the same for you in your experience? Whereas that second year in the NFL where you really started to feel comfortable?
Yeah, I think I came out strong. Definitely the work I put in the offseason definitely showed off. The first game, second year, I ended up having 2 sacks, 7 tackles, like 3 TFLs against the Texans to open the game off. To open the season off. And, I was playing well, first half of the season. And I ended up getting injured, high ankle sprain. I was out for maybe like 6-7 games. And then that's when, every year I just learned something new about the game and like what I have to, incorporate into like my daily stuff. So, from there, I started taking I call it prehab, where you start doing stuff before you even get injured. So a bunch of stuff like hyperbaric chambers. I started doing a lot of IVs to make sure I was hydrated, to take care of my soft tissue injuries and, just going into the training room, taking care of my ankles and, just all that kind of stuff to, help me stay on the field and help me, if I stay on the field, I'm going to play well. I'm going to get the stats I need. So that was my big thing. Just, staying on the field, preventing injuries and stuff like that. So I was definitely playing well. And then the injury kind of set me back a little bit. And I came back and, I had a good game against the Patriots. Homecoming game for me, that was amazing. Although we lost, but that was a great game. To go into Gillette, all my friends, hometown friends were there. My family was there. So, yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Let's say, for example, an edge rusher is a speed rusher predominantly, but let's say he faces a tackle whose strength is going up against speed rushers. How do you, as a edge rusher, change your game? Do you stick with your strength? Do you try and exploit the weakness of the tackle? How does a defensive end's game plan change game over game here?
Yeah, I think for edge rusher, definitely in our room, we try to exploit the fish, as we call it, kind of like the worst old lineman. But we just trying to, exploit their weaknesses. Like you see guys like Von Miller who are speed rushers, but then you'll see them put an old lineman on his butt every once in a while because they have to respect his strength. So, just being able to set it up, old tackle that's, really prepared for the speed, they'll set a little bit higher. get out there a little bit faster. They're not really as anchored down to the ground. So you sell speed and you throw your long arm in there, a real stiff long arm. And then, oftentimes they're surprised by it and they fall and you just get by them and then you get the sack. So, just playing like that chess game, the mind game, being able to set certain things up throughout the game. And yeah.
Who's been the toughest offensive lineman you've had to face so far?
I just had a conversation about this. My rookie year playing Andrew Whitworth, that was by far like the hardest, because going into the game too as well, I'm like, oh, this guy's like 42 years old. I'm like, bro, I'm about to cook this guy. And I went into the game, I'm like, he's surprisingly fast. He gets back into his sets fast. Like, you don't know what kind of set he's going to give you. And he's so strong and he's huge. So, like, you're thinking you're about to get off the ball, tell him with speed and hit him with a power move. He's just standing right there like a brick wall. And then his hands are super strong. He had what we call grown men strength. Like, once you hit a certain age, you're just like strong. Like, like the guys in the locker room, like, we just joke all the time. Once you start having kids, that's when you get your grown man strength. Once you get your dad strength, that's like your prime.
That's great, man. Yeah, because he was about twice your age at that point. You're going up against him. He knows everything, man. That's awesome. Your PFF grade last year against the run was 11th out of all defensive ends in football, right? Not only were you getting after the quarterback, getting sacks, a lot of pressures, but you were also great in the run game. How much pride do you take in that, and how hard is it to be great at both facets as a edge rusher there?
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of work and effort. A lot of guys, the key as a defensive end is, like, you want to get sacks and stuff like that, but you have to earn those sacks. You have to stop the run first. You have to, make the team throw the ball, third and long situations. If the team's running the ball and they get into third and short, they're just going to keep running the ball. So, taking pride in stopping the run first, coming from Big Ten football, playing against teams like Iowa, Wisconsin, where they have like the 3 tight end sets, 2 tight end sets, and like all they're doing the whole game is running the ball. Like, you have to take pride in that. I remember coming into in Michigan, we played a lot of 6-tech, and my first year I could not get the 6-tech down, and Greg Madison was my D-line coach at the time, and he was just hard on everybody, man, like making sure you get the 6-tech down. And he would tell us to watch guys in front of him. He would tell me to watch Rashawn Gary. I'm like, Rashawn's a different beast. Like, this guy is 6'6", like 280 of pure muscle. But anyways, I ended up getting it down. You just hammer it every single day in practice, just that Big Ten football, that style of play. And just transitioning to the NFL was kind of just like, it was easy for me to transition in the run game, and then the pass rush came later. But yeah, just having that background of Big Ten football was clutch for me.
Were there any players growing up, any edge rushers in particular that you watched and you're like, yeah, I want to play like that guy? Any guys that you molded your game after?
Liberian legend Tamba Ali, man. He still texts me till this day, So for me, just watching his film and like just seeing how he rushed, just there's not too many Liberian NFL players. So for me, that was just a guy where I was just like, man, like, I just want to be just like him.
Dude, you have no idea how many people you just made happy. So I do a lot of Chiefs because I'm here in Kansas City, actually. So
okay,
you just made a whole bunch of Chiefs fans very happy. Tamba Hali is still a Chiefs legend. He's out in the community, and he's working with a lot of Chiefs defensive ends as well. That's awesome. He's getting with you too there. Keeping you up, huh?
Yes, sir.
Last year was hard with Anthony Richardson going down early, right? The Colts still almost made the playoffs. Gardner Minshew took over. You guys, I think all things considered, had a pretty solid year. What are expectations now? Obviously, Michael Pittman's there. You got your 5th year picked up, bolstered your team in the draft as well. Obviously, Anthony Richardson is back and healthy now. What are expectations for the Colts right now?
I think it's kind of playoffs, that's like the bare minimum for us. We have to reach the playoffs. We have to win the division, and it's heating up in our division. The Texans got a whole bunch of guys. The Jags, they won the division 2 years ago, and then we have the rivalry with the Titans. But I feel like our division is probably like one of the best right now in the NFL as far as competition wise, because it's kind of like just all in the air. You don't know who's going to win it. So for us, winning the division, going to the playoffs, and just going far in the playoffs. We reloaded a lot of guys. We brought a lot of our key guys back, and just going into the season head high. It was a good season last year, but obviously wasn't what we wanted, and definitely just to stack on top of that year.
I'll tell you what, though, if you do make the playoffs, I'm rooting for you here in Kansas City. I'm rooting for you. Just don't play the Chiefs in the playoffs, because the Colts seemingly always have the Chiefs numbers. Don't bring up the no punt game. Just don't bring it up. Kansas City Chiefs fans and Colts, come on now. We respect you, but we don't want to face you in the playoffs. I do want to give a huge shout out once again to Campbell's Chunky Spicy Nashville Style Hot Chicken Soup, coming out very soon to a shelf near you. Kwity Paye, defensive end for the Indianapolis Colts. Kwity, really appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I had a lot of fun talking with Kwity Paye right there. Again, Colts defensive end right there. Hard not to root for him. Just seems so enjoyable, man. He was just a great guy to talk to. Love some of the insight I got just in regards to playing edge in the NFL. I thought it was fun when he said a guy that he grew up watching and idolizing was Tamba Hali. And quite frankly, it's fun when you see Kwity Paye play for the Colts. He reminds you of Tamba. Like, yes, he gets after the quarterback, but he's also so damn good in the run game. I mean, he's a game-changing player. He's entering his fourth year with the Colts. If you don't know Kwity Paye, you will hear about him a lot this year. But I just really enjoyed that. And after we got off the actual call right there, we talked a little bit more. And he was just talking about the Texans and all the moves they made this offseason. He's kind of in agreement with me as far as the Texans. They look scary. They look damn good. I thought it was kind of fun hearing a current player actually open up a little more about the state of the NFL and some moves that are being made. We'll take a break. We're going to come back. We'll be joined by Mick Schaefer. Want to talk some Royals with Mick after this. The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Mick Schaefer.
Here to save the show.
We were struggling without you. We needed those devilishly good looks. We needed that Pearl Jam St. Paul, Minnesota shirt and the looks like a bar bracelet on your hand.
No, I was at my niece's volleyball tournament already
Wow.
today at Oaken. And so, rolled out of the rack at 10. Got there by maybe her second game, and then had IHOP with the family, came straight here.
Wow.
Had a Friday so far.
You are a great uncle.
We got
Funkle.
That's right.
That
Gym
sounds-
Tan Laundry. Today it's been volleyball, IHOP radio.
Which was more fun?
I don't know so far. We'll see how the radio goes.
Okay.
IHOP was pretty great.
Is it better or worse that Jason's not here? Where's that?
Way worse. Where is Jason?
Guess.
Kid stuff. Louisville.
Yep.
Something like that.
Nailed
Kid
both.
stuff in Louisville.
It's perfect. So I'm here, just making the show way more.
He's there so much. It's
Way
almost
more
like Louisville's
formal.
like 45 minutes away.
8 hours.
8 hours.
Solid 8. Solid 8.
It's got that new big vehicle, though. The
Yes.
family truckster.
Oh, yeah.
You got to show it off.
Show it off.
Family truck.
Got to show it off.
Uh-huh.
You think it's got a little DVD player in there for the kids?
I think he absolutely
Gotta
does.
have one of those.
Um,
Do they still make?
although they don't do the
do
DVDs
DVDs
anymore.
anymore.
Yeah, they've got
they
their
have
phones.
streaming.
Right.
So, yeah, they do. They have streaming. My mother-in-law, her tricked-out Escalade, has got Netflix in there.
What?
They watch Netflix.
Yeah, you
Do you
can
have like a old
smart
time
TV,
dish?
right?
No,
Like-
you don't have a dish. It's built-in Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cars, huh?
On the way back, cars, right? On the way back from vacation, my son plugged in his PS5 and was playing college football 25
Yep.
in his grandma's car.
What?
Yes.
Okay, kids these days
No,
need
we
to go
could've
outside and kick the can.
It's probably a whole lot easier today, but I remember back in the day it was like the biggest deal if you could plug in like just a GameCube with the red, yellow, and white
yeah.
things into the TV.
Fellas,
it's-
I come from a generation. You ever see the old Econoline vans? The old vans. It's not like the Streamline.
No.
Oh, yeah.
The captain's chairs would spin around.
Yep.
Right, and then you could turn the table upside down. It was a poker table.
Yes.
And you could play poker in the back, and then that's gonna get clipped. And then we would occasionally have this. It was kind of a TV VCR combo. VCR was the old tapes,
Yep.
right? And so, if you were really rich, you had one that had a plug-in into a lighter, and you plug that in the lighter, and you could watch grainy salt and pepper video occasionally. We were down by Wichita. If you got close enough to Wichita, you can maybe see a little bit of a ball game on a Saturday or whatever, and that was the height. That was the height of technology.
That's electric.
And play a little poker.
Well, my cousins had basically the same thing. My Jersey cousins, so they're all very large people. Like 6'10". He's 6'10" now. One played football at Virginia. He's like 6'5", 6'6". Like they're all very not fat. They're just
Tall.
well built and tall. So even growing up, when I was 12, my cousin was 6'3". That 12-year-old at 6'3" is pretty hefty. It's a tall kid.
It's tall for any age, I would
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
yes.
it was. We went to New York one time, and they wouldn't believe that he was 12, that he was a kid, and we're like, no, he's a kid.
I'm 12.
I'm just 4'7". He's 6'3", but we're the same age.
Oh, you're the same age. Okay. I see.
But the van they had to get was awesome because they were so tall and so big even at a young age. They had that van with everything that flipped and the captain's chairs that rotated, and we thought that was the coolest thing ever. And you look back now and you're like, that was the 1997 van. That was in our mind when you're like 8 years old, coolest thing in the world.
The windows had curtains, right? You could draw back, let
like
as much
it's a
light
Rolls-Royce-
in
It's like a Rolls Royce
that you needed. Yes, it was. We would take that. On Saturday bowling trips or Saturday going to a ball game somewhere. Yeah, that was the.
You got to bring those back.
the deal. Bring it back.
That's the issue these days.
The
not
vans
enough.
are too nice.
I'm just saying. You got
the Tahoes and the Escalades and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Jason, if you want to give your kids a good childhood, you'll
Yes.
buy one of those vans.
get one of those vans.
Yeah. All right, I do want to talk a little Royals with you because I want to talk about sustainability, specifically with the offense, and specifically with runners in scoring position. Because I don't know where I come down on this phenomenon, because I've said for the longest time, I believe being clutch is a real thing. Like, I think there's a clutch gene. I think there's, whether it's
I don't think
biological
there's
or
a
not.
clutch gene, but I think guys are better in those situations.
That's
than
my
others.
point. I know that there's been some studies. They're like, no, it doesn't matter. It's the same. I'm like, no, you're wrong. You have some guys.
Or it's just the better players are better at that.
Sure, but not
Although
always.
you're
Some
probably
dudes,
getting at MJ Melendez.
MJ Melendez or Clayton Kershaw, who seemingly chokes in the playoffs. Like some guys, just seemingly fair or not, they come up in big time moments. Well, the Royals have this entire season. They're number one in the majors with runners in scoring position. Not just batting average, but also an OPS. They are batting 300.
That's amazing.
On base 367 and slugging 480, which is second in the majors behind the Yankees in slugging with runners in scoring position. So they're the best team in baseball. Is this sustainable? Is this it's great right now, but you can't count on this? Or is this just this might be who they are, a team that when dudes get on base, they buckle down?
Well, they played 115 games, something like that.
116.
116 games. Yeah, I think that's a big enough sample size. I think it's sustainable, and part of it probably has to be a approach. You'll hear some of the broadcasters, the old players will often say, when you're in that situation, right, 2 outs, right, and you're at the plate, and runner in scoring position, kind of a pressure situation, the best way to go about it is think, okay, the pitcher has to come to me. The pressure is on the pitcher, and vice versa. When you're on the mound, you're feeling that pressure as well, which is largely internal. And you got to tell yourself, the pressure is on the batter. He's the one that has to come through. It's the toughest thing to do in sports. He's got to hit. So I think if you take that mindset of, okay, I'm not the one on the line here, it's the other guy, I think that can really help you, and that can calm you down. And right, that's the secret to really all sports and succeeding, is being relaxed and calm down. I talked getting back to football, I talked to Dana Hughes yesterday, recorded a couple segments for our pregame show on Saturday, and he said, because I asked him, what's your best preseason memory? He said, the best thing that ever happened to me was me being dumb going in. He was drafted by the Chiefs.
Sure.
I think late, like 7th round or something like that. And he said he thought it was a league rule, if you were drafted by the team, you couldn't get cut. So he went out there and was just laid back and relaxed, like, they ain't gonna do other than me. I'm just gonna go out and do my thing. And later on in the preseason, he found out, oh no, that's not the case. We can cut you at any time. Why would you think that's a rule? But he was like, had I known that was the case, I probably would have clinched up a little bit more. I probably would have applied pressure on myself, and I probably wouldn't have done as good. So I definitely think there's something to that there. Those guys with extra confidence, those guys that realize the situation, that aren't afraid of failing, right? That's a lot of times the biggest thing. You're not afraid to fail. And a lot of times experience matters. The more times you've been in that situation, the more times you've succeeded and failed, you've realized, okay, it's not the end of the world either way, whatever happens here. So the try easier part, right? That's what George Brett always says about hitting. I think that's a big thing. And so, yeah, I think that can be coached up. That can be part of your approach. And yeah, absolutely. What the Royals have done in that situation, those situations have been huge this year. I mean, without it, this is an offense, right? They'll get hot for a week, right? They'll put 7 or 8 up, runs a game up. You get Vinny and Pascal Martino hitting at the same time, and it's fun to watch. But then they'll go in that lull for a series or two to where, like, the starting pitching is going to have to carry you to like a 2-1 win because the offense just doesn't have it. And so it's a good thing to have that clutch gene.
I will say, going back to just game plan, they've also struck out the fewest amount of times of anyone in the majors with runners in scoring position. Yeah. They have 180, and it looks like the next closest is the Padres with 184. They're also 10th in the majors.
I wonder if that hurt them the other night in the Game 2 loss to the Red Sox when they had battled back, right? MJ hits the 2-run double. There's nobody out. It's the 8th inning, and you're down a run, and they let Hunter Renfroe swing away and ground the ball to the left side. And then, a couple flyouts later, they're done. Whereas, okay, it's the 8th inning. Maybe if you're in the 3rd or 4th, still play for that big inning. Don't take the bat out of Hunter's hands.
Sure.
At that point, though, it felt like get him over to 3rd, right, and get him home. Sacrifice a couple outs here just to tie up this game. and change it because it's so late in the game. They didn't do that. They let them swing away, and it led to a loss.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting to note a team that's 12 games over 500, the best team in baseball with runners in scoring position. If you look at the teams who are top 10 with runners in scoring position, not a shock. Royals 1, Diamondbacks 2, Yankees 3,
Yeah.
Cleveland 4, Mets 5, Milwaukee's been phenomenal offensive. They're 6th. Then you get to a couple of ones, Cincinnati, Detroit, Washington 9, and then the Padres 10. I mean, you look at this list, and it's just a lot of teams who are doing well.
Yeah.
Obviously, they do well with runners in scoring position.
Is it? I wonder how much of that, I don't know if you have the numbers for each guy in front of you and their average. I wonder how much of that is skewed by just Bobby's monster year and Pasquantino having a monster last, month and a half, and Salvi doing what he's done all season long, but especially in the first half of the season.
Let me look that up.
If it's like almost like it's like a 3-person stat there. Now, we've seen Kyle Isbell come up clutch. We've seen MJ Melendez come up clutch. A couple of these guys be able to hit in situations, but those three, Witt, Pasquantino, Salvi, especially hitting back-to-back-to-back, they've done it all year long, and I wonder how much of it is just kind of tilted to their end, the reason it's happening because of their monster years.
Yeah, individually, I'm going to have to look up each player, I think, individually. I don't have an Excel spreadsheet pulled up for that right now. But I do find it interesting because you're right with Bobby and Vinny specifically, but you also have Salvador Perez, too. He doesn't get sack flies very often, but he's come up clutch a lot in those moments. Every time you see a guy come up, the guy on second base, it'll show their current average, and then it'll show their with runners in scoring position. And almost every single one is vastly higher
it is.
For the Royals. Again, maybe the trash cans are playing a really good effect according to Cleveland fans. I mean, what do
Cleveland say?
Cleveland thinks the Royals are cheating because they're really good at home.
I think Cleveland's cheating. They won so many games.
I think Cleveland's probably cheating.
No, I don't think they're cheating. Why? Because they're so good at home. They've battled back. They're about 500 on the road now too.
The Royals are 27-28 on the road. They're 37-24 at home. Shockingly, Cleveland's actually better at home.
I mean, 37-24 isn't this unheard of number? What is that? It's so funny.
Cleveland's
it's
35-20 at home.
Yeah,
they're even better.
You're also 15 games above 500 at home.
It's they think that the Royals are tracking or hacking into PitchCom.
Are these actual Guardians who are saying this, or their fans?
The fans.
Okay.
But it's getting a lot of traction, and now you look it up in Bobby Witt and Vinny. You look at their home versus road, and Massey as well. Big difference.
Everybody's home versus road is a big difference.
Not Salvi. Salvi's better on the road. But my thought process now is I'm gonna go into this. I'm gonna lean into it, and I'm saying it's actually the Sasquatch on top of left field that's giving everyone the signal.
Yeah.
The Sasquatch whenever Vinny's up.
Pasquatch, baby, yeah.
I think it's that guy who's giving signals to everyone. I'm convinced. So
I love it. Here's the deal. On 41, I've been showing the wild card standings almost nightly, right? Ever since kind of the All-Star break, we're keeping track where we at, especially this Red Sox series. They got close, and now there's a little bit of a gap. But it's a 4-game. They're only 4 games back of Cleveland in the AL Central, and it's almost like that's where wild card takes care of itself, right?
Yes.
If you're paying attention to the Central, and if you're right there in the Central, if you win the Central, there's no such thing as the wild card you have to worry about. So that's so doable at this point. And Cleveland's kind of coming back to earth. It's slowly but surely.
5 straight games.
They did, and the Royals are 7-3 in their last 10. It's kind of a slow march here. Minnesota's kind of annoyingly always right there.
Half game ahead. Right now.
Well, because they played like 3 or 4 less games. Get those games in.
3 fewer games.
Get those
less.
games in, Twins. I'm tired of doing that dumb math. And so that's almost where I think as fans and maybe as players, that's where you set your focus, right? You're right there to win the AL Central. You don't have to worry about these other divisions and who's going to get hot in the wild card and can we get to that second spot or third spot. You kind of at 4 games left on August. What are we at? 9th right now. You kind of control your own destiny. Right?
They have 7.
You kind of do.
Well, they have 7 games left with Cleveland.
That's part of it.
They have three.
They have at least one more series with
6 games with the Twins.
Yes.
And then 3 more with Detroit.
Yep.
Now, I will also point out, though, the Royals do have a relatively difficult end of season. I mean,
it's a tough schedule, man.
of
This
course
is moving month, man. They're right in the middle of it.
last 3 at Atlanta, right? That's always a great way to end your season.
When has that ever happened in the history of Royals baseball? I'm
Yeah.
willing to say they've never finished their season in Atlanta.
They have 4 games against Houston. They have 3 games against the Phillies. They have 3 games against the Yankees in New York, which means Vinny's going to obviously go off because it's just such a cracker box out there. It's just
It is a tough schedule. They are going to have to earn their keep, and so I really am happy they survived that Red Sox series. Look, Boston looks good, man. I mean, and we see these teams the most when they're playing the Royals. That East is a monster, man. The Yankees look good. I mean, Orioles and everything. But then there's other teams that, like we bring up Cleveland. Royals are 4-2 against them this year, and they haven't wowed me at all playing them. And I think that's a great thing with those games coming up. Unfortunately, no more White Sox series.
No, just keep putting the White Sox on
Yeah.
there. I mean, it's kind of, quite frankly, a bad year for the. You don't play your division as much as you used to.
I know it's been nice a couple of years ago to have that unbalanced schedule.
Would have been pretty nice.
Yeah, I like it. I like that you play every team in baseball, and it makes sense. There's only 30 teams, and you play 162 games. You can squeeze in a series
You
with
can
every NL West team, right? Every NL Central, everybody. You can squeeze a series in. Even these odd little 2-game series they're doing with the Cardinals this week with a Sunday day off.
Yeah, I love the 2-2 with St. Louis. I loved
sweeping the first one.
in college it was great. I loved it because you'd go to a Cardinals game and then you'd go the next day to a Royals game because it was 4-hour drive,
Sure.
3.5-hour drive. Always thought it was fun, but yeah, you got Lorenzo on the mound against Michaelis tonight, and then you have Michael Wacha, a return to St. Louis,
return, baby,
on Saturday. And again, this is the team. I hate the Yankees, which I've made very much well known on this program. It's also
very bold of you.
It's also the Cardinals. It's also the Cardinals. Like there's just this natural Kansas City blood that courses through my veins. And the Cardinals just have my ire. And
You're not the only one.
I hated growing up, and they were good. And so all my Cardinals friends, because, if you go to Missouri and stuff, there's a lot of Cardinals guys. Yeah. They'd rip on you. But guess what?
What?
When was the last time the Cardinals won a World Series?
I'm going to say, let's say one in
2006.
7, I think.
Oh, my bad. It was
7?
11.
11.
Yeah, because they won that second one.
It was 11. My point is, it ain't 15, baby.
Oh, yeah, the most recent one.
You can claim all those ones from 1910. That's fine.
Are they the second? They've got the second most, right? Behind the Yankees. Are they at like 11? They've won 11.
They've won a lot. But congrats. There was 9 teams. You had Stan Musial and you owned 2 teams. And you used the Cleveland Spiders as a damn AAA team. And you put all your good players in this one and sent all the bad ones out. Bunch of posers is what I'm saying.
Their best player was named Dizzy Dean. It shouldn't count,
It shouldn't
right?
count. I mean, that's not a good era.
Yeah, so I guess they would have been, so was it 06, Dylan?
They won 06
Yeah,
and
because,
11.
06 was their first one.
With Pujols.
Since, 19... Did they win one in the early 80s? I don't know.
I know when they lost.
Yeah, 85.
They won in, that was the last one since 82.
82, yeah. 82. But they didn't win in the 70s, I don't believe.
No, it
Or
was
the
back to
60s.
60s. So they've won 3 since the Royals became a team in Kansas City.
And the Royals won 2.
Have won 2.
Yeah.
And somehow Cardinals fans are so up on their high horse
Well,
about those championships. 1926, 31,
They've been to a lot more
34.
playoffs, right? And they've won a lot more games. That's the other end of it.
Let me just rip on them.
Okay, yeah.
Let
you
me
bet.
rip
Yeah,
on
sorry.
them and their pizza and their bagels that they don't know how to cut and their bad barbecue. Come on.
They try barbecue over there? They try it?
Try is a strong word. Strong
Is
word.
this?
We'll take a break. We'll come back. More Mick Schaefer on the Zone right up next. Back in the zone. Just saw a fun little clip of breakdancing in the Olympics, Mick.
Yeah, I've seen it
And
too.
I'm so glad they took out baseball and softball so I could watch a lady roll
Spin,
on the floor.
doing the worm? Is she doing the worm? I don't know.
The worm would have been more impressive than what
Yeah.
I saw. I don't know how they qualify. This country just didn't have a breakdance. Go ahead and do it. Go, Linda, go out there. Linda from accounting, go out there.
It's so funny. Some of these sports that have been grandfathered in, we've had forever. Can you imagine introducing synchronized swimming now? But we're so used to it because it's been in the Olympics forever.
Well, that's impressive.
It's pretty silly.
It's impressive, though.
I mean, breakdancing can be impressive. It's just not a sport.
I saw.
No, it wasn't.
Not what I saw. That was
that.
That was not impressive. Juju Smith-Schuster was released from the Patriots. We will talk about that next, right here on The Zone.
now on Sports Radio 810 Sports Center.
This is Sports Center. The University of St. Mary offers KC's most flexible MBA. Choose your method, online, on ground, or a blend of both. Join USM for a virtual info session. RSVP at stmary.edu/RSVP. Now time for your Olympic update. USA in the lead with 105, China in second with 77, and in third, France with 55. By gold, United States in second with 31, trailing China just by 1. United States, they beat Serbia last night 95-91, clawing back for the victory, playing France now in the final. This is Sports Center. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Mick Schaefer. All right. Juju Smith-Schuster, supposedly, according to Ian Rappaport, released from the Patriots, which is saying a lot because the Patriots wide receiver core is 2 scoops of ass. They're horrible, dude. They're brutal.
I don't know most of these guys. Like Jalen Reagor, I know him. He's like 3rd string, though.
They got 2 rookies. They have Pop Douglas, who's solid, Kendrick Bourne, who had a decent year, KJ Osborne, who came from the Vikings, Javon Baker, Kayshon Boutte, who was the LSU guy a couple of years ago who really fell off, Jalen Reagor, Jalen Polk, Taekwon. It's wide receiver 5s just that just litter this roster.
What are they? They're a bunch of, what would you call them?
Sky Moores.
Sky Moores. Yeah, it's a good one.
If your entire team was Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney,
yeah,
and then Kayshon Boutte is basically Justin Ross, where it's just hype from college, then you would have the Patriots wide receiving core. And Juju Smith-Schuster got cut from that. I don't know what that says. Don't know if it's injury-based. I don't know if it's the Patriots just saying, hey, we're going young here. He's only 27, by the way. He's a lot younger than you think. I mean, way younger than you think. It's like the Andrew Wiggins of the NFL.
How old's Wiggins?
Wiggins is probably 30-something now, but he's played for how many years now?
Yeah, what about 13 or 14 would have been his first year.
It's just insane. Andrew Wiggins is 29.
No way, wow.
Andrew Wiggins is somehow younger than me, and he's played in the NBA.
10 years. He was at KU 1 year.
11.
11 years, wow.
11 years. Wow. 1, 2, 3.
Because he was a young, I remember he reclassified. He was a young freshman.
Maybe it was 10. Might be 10 years. Heading into his 11th year, and he's 29. In February, too. It wasn't like he's turning 30 tomorrow. But the point remains, Juju Smith-Schuster's relatively young, only 27 years old, released from the Patriots. Do the Chiefs even consider bringing him back?
No, I don't think. You're fine. Things are fine there. You have three receivers you believe in. I don't think you need to pay to bring him in to fill whatever that 4th or 5th role is.
Last year, yeah.
Last year, yes.
Yes.
Not this year.
Before you knew what Rashee Rice was? Yeah.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to me, he would only be Rashee Rice insurance. Like, if Rashee Rice were going to be suspended, then you would say, okay, I could see a role for Juju. If not, I don't see what he brings to the Chiefs roster. Let's be real now. Last year, in 11 games, 7 starts, he had 260 yards.
That's it.
I get it.
It's 11 games, too.
It's not Mahomes throwing you the rock. I understand that. You were the only wide receiver. Like, you were the veteran. But Pop Douglas and Kendrick Bourne, those guys had much better seasons than you. I don't see what Juju would possibly bring to the Chiefs at this point outside of a break in case of emergency in regards to Rashee Rice. I think the Chiefs are just fine as they are. Even on a veteran minimum contract, I just don't see it.
His top game last year was against his old team, the Steelers. 6 catches, 90 yards. After that, his best game was 51 yards. After that, it was 33.
Yeah. You don't need that. The
I mean, you
Chiefs
have that
don't
already.
need-
You
yes.
have that already.
That-
You can get that kind of production out of really anyone.
Well, because the Chiefs already have 4 guys who are locks. They have Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Justin Watson. We were talking with Matt Derrick, and he thinks that Sky Moore, for whatever reason, they're loving Sky Moore. Again, part of that's the rookie contract. Who knows when the preseason games actually happen? But if Sky Moore has 2 years left on a rookie deal, that's a pretty lucrative reason to keep him.
I would. There would be a drop off between 4 and 5, but I would have him as the 5th if I'm the Chiefs, the 5th receiver.
You have Nico Remigio, who is a specialist, who I think Dave Tobe probably gets him on the roster, which means you're looking at Kadarius Toney, McCole Hardman. If McCole Hardman makes it, we'll see. He can also play some special teams, and Justin Ross as the odd man out. At this point in their careers, how much more valuable is Juju Smith-Schuster than a McCole, a Justin, a Kadarius, a Sky? Because I don't even think he's a Justin Watson. Different style of receivers, obviously. But if you told me in a nutshell you can have Juju Smith-Schuster or Justin Watson, I'm probably going Justin Watson.
I mean, if you were confident that, okay, this guy we're bringing in, maybe he's not Hollywood, and hopefully he's not, Xavier Worthy, what we think he'll be, but he's better than Justin Watson, yeah, then maybe I'll consider it, but I don't think that's where
No.
Juju Smith-Schuster is right now.
No. After the injuries, after what he did with the Patriots last year, I just don't see it. Looks like they have to eat the $7 million the Patriots do, which is a pretty bold choice, again, for I don't know the whole situation, but I find that pretty fascinating. We were talking with Matt Derrick. We were talking about our 53-man roster predictions. We're going to ask you individually every single player, so get excited for that. Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. But no, do you have any players, surprise players? I know I asked you this, I think, a week ago maybe. Now we're a week closer with the preseason game starting tomorrow. On what channel?
So it's on KMCI 38th spot. Thank you for asking, Sterling. It'll be on at 6 o'clock, 30th spot. If you have YouTube TV, you don't have it. You don't have to complain to me that you don't have it. I know you don't have it. I have YouTube TV. So if you have some rabbit ears, that nice. HD antennas are great. The quality is so nice. It's better than cable and running it through streaming services. We'll go to a bar, right? Or go to a friend's house. Here's the deal, though. You're not going to really care about this game at about 6:30, are you? Nobody is.
6:30 is pretty bold. I think about 6:10.
6:10. Well, they won't kick
6:11.
off. Yeah, they won't kick off maybe till 6:10 because they got to
6:11.
get the pregame stuff in there and all that stuff. Yeah. No, I mean until first quarter, maybe, right? Even after Mahomes, if he's out after a series, yeah, the viewership's going to go away.
Yeah, right there.
Unless you're one of the diehards.
Well,
and if you're one of the diehards, you're not complaining because
you know where to
you've
find
known
this
where
game.
to find this game for months, and you've got it all figured out.
I'm being facetious because honestly, I'm almost more excited once the ones go out because I want to see, outside of like Kingsley Suamataia, I want to see Carson Steele. I want to see Generic Prince. I want to see, the battle between Irv Smith Jr. trying to make the roster as a 4th tight end. I'm excited to see Hunter Norzad to an extent, see what he can do. Wanye Morris. I'm excited to see some of the backup defensive linemen who I think there's a battle. Cam Jones and Curtis Jacobs. And a lot of the secondary, I think the secondary is wide open now. Kelvin Joseph won't play because of injury, obviously. But like Echo Boydo, I don't think Jalen Watson's going to play either because of injury. But there's some guys in the secondary that I'm excited to see what they can do. So, I know we joke about it, but part of me is also really excited to see the unsung heroes, the special teamers, get their opportunity.
Yeah, and you're like me. You're kind of like a nerd about it, and we care beyond the first team. Although I don't know if I'll be. I might be able to watch the game. I'm not sure. I've got tomorrow off. That'll be the only Chiefs game
nice
I have off.
Sports director.
Yeah,
but you don't have to watch it, right?
You mentioned
you can talk like soccer or something.
That's right. You mentioned a couple of names there that I was going to bring up: Echo Boydo and Carson Steele. They've had good camps, and I think Boydo has promise there. I really do, especially in maybe a thin cornerbacks room. I love a good fullback. I know Andy Reid does too, and I wonder if he's. Although it's been was last year the first year they didn't have?
Last year was the first
because
year.
Burton was on the team for the Super Bowl 57.
Yep.
Yeah, and so let's go there. I've really liked what I've seen from Wiley, the rookie tight end, Jared Wiley, and not just how he moves out of the backfield, running routes, catching passes, but also in pass pro. I love watching the pass pro, right? And some of these guys get it, and some of them do not. Jared Wiley gets it, right? And a lot of the pass pro and the one-on-ones, those, tackle and guard and all that, those are slanted towards the defense. That's a make-believe world, right? When you're one-on-one with a left tackle and there's no left guard nearby, right? And your other interior defensive lineman isn't close by as well, right? It's a phone booth usually you're working in, but in these drills, it's wide open, and a guy will run 7 yards around him and beat him and celebrate. I'm like, that's not how it's going to work in a game.
Yeah.
So I feel for the offensive lineman. So if you can hold your own in that drill, and Wiley does in the pass pro way more often than not, then you got chops. And I think he's got it with the physical blocking side as well.
Yeah, I love seeing Drew Tranquill and Isaiah Pacheco go after it. That's how you get physical in practice, not like DK Metcalf throwing helmets at his teammate swinging.
Right, keep the helmet on.
And then, of course, the head coach going, we like the feisty nature.
Fine,
yes.
Sounds
like a rookie head coach.
I would be afraid of DK as well.
I would
you're the head coach. You probably should have some sort of authority.
Maybe have some sort of like, hey, we don't do that, though.
Yes.
Like, we like feisty, but we don't do that.
Well, no, he's instilling his culture because remember Mike McDonald had to take down all the old, Legion of Boom stuff off the walls. So
he did?
He had to instill his culture, which is
he's Joe Judge now. He's about to be Joe Judge.
Yeah. There's a lot of sarcasm there.
No, I'm with you.
I'm saying me.
Yeah. I'm with you. Like because seriously, that's what it comes down to. All these guys, these rookie head coaches, they loved coming in and be like, "No, I'm the guy now."
Yeah.
Like it's like, but what have you done? Like you're not Bill Belichick. You like Joe Judge.
You're not even Pete Carroll.
You're not Pete Carroll. I just always find that mind blowing. Like Andy Reid can get away with it because Andy Reid had success with the Eagles, right? You got to earn your chops, even as a head coach. Sean McVay didn't go to the Rams and all of a sudden was like, we're tearing down everything the Rams have ever done. I mean, in fairness, it wasn't like the history of the Rams, especially in L.A., was that great. But the point still remains. When Zach Taylor went to the Bengals, now they still have 0 rings, but he didn't go and just like, no, we're doing it all my way. Everything else is horrible. Anything that was ever done here before me, we gotta paint over. Any success that may have happened here, we're taking it away.
I've never understood that. I mean, coaches will come in and you'll hear like alumni or guys that used to play for the team say, "Oh, well, this new coach is in, and he's accepting all of us back. He wants to bring us back to the sidelines and to practices and stuff." I'm like, why is that not the norm always? Right? Why is that not? Because a lot of times those guys are still in direct connection with the powers that be and the owners of the team, to where like those guys sour first. You might be buying you some time if you embrace those guys and bring them back and celebrate their tradition, however strong it is in your organization. That's always baffled me when it's like, we're erasing the past here.
Right. Look at the Steelers. The Steelers have players that show up to camp and give speeches all the time. They still go to St. Vincent College that they went to in the 70s because of the fact that they like to have that there, because it also shows that it can be done here. Instead of, because that's the only Super Bowl the Seahawks have, is that one Legion of Boom Super Bowl. So let's tear it down.
Yeah, let's tear it down. And then it's been 4 head coaches
for a college
Steelers,
defensive coordinator, essentially, because he went from Michigan 1 year to the Ravens, and now he's a head coach.
The Chiefs seemingly do a great job of it. They do a good job with their former players. Obviously, the Chiefs ambassadors is great. Tom Bahali working with a lot of the guys. I mean, I was talking with Kwity Paye earlier, the Colts defensive edge, and he was. I asked him a player he grew up watching or enjoying.
Tom, I listened to that,
and he goes, the Liberian legend is what he called him. They still stay in touch. I'm just like, that's badass. By the way, like just imagine that a player you grew up watching and idolizing.
Did he grow up in Liberia, or is he first generation American?
Kwity
Paye.
I don't
know his story. Yeah,
I looked it up before. We didn't talk about it. Yeah, he's Liberian. He was born in Guinea. Yeah, I forgot. He actually had a crazy childhood.
Yeah.
He was born in Guinea as a refugee of the first Liberian Civil War, and then immigrated to the United States as a baby.
Wow.
Like, I remember it's very inspiring, sad story in regards to a lot of what happened, again, before he was born. So I don't want to bring it up to him because it's like you were a baby. Now you're talking about some horrible things that happened to some family when you were not even able to remember that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
but Kwity Paye, he's awesome. just great dude, and he's also Liberian. So shout out to Tamba for that. That was really cool.
No, that was good to hear. And wait, how did he not know you were in Kansas City? You didn't say, "Hey, I'm Sterling Holmes from Kansas City" beforehand. You don't say
Sterling Holmes here, and you have like the pre-show, just a little bit,
yeah,
like 5 minutes.
You don't say where you're from at all.
Typically, I don't, because I want to get natural reactions. I want to get when I interviewed Jamar Chase. I never will say Kansas City until closer.
You
to the
did
end.
mention, you gave him a hint
I did.
though,
I gave
because
him a
you're
hint.
like, well, you're 1-0 against the Chiefs. Like, how would he know that?
Yeah, I gave him a little bit of little something. But like Jamar Chase, for example, when I interviewed him, I try not to say in Kansas City.
Probably a good one there, not to mention where you're from on it.
I always do the end though.
Hang
I'll
up
let him
early.
know. I always go, just so you know, I'm here from Kansas City, and
and I guess these guys, they probably do so much media, they don't really care.
They don't care.
/ know who they're talking to.
They're there to promote something.
Yeah, exactly.
They're there to promote something and keep that name out there. But any other battles that you're looking forward to in the preseason game? Anything in the preseason game that you think matters?
So much is set, right? And we always look at wide receiver. I think that's going to be a big battle. I think there's some depth at running back that is going to be a battle there. I really like Deneric Prince. I think he's taking steps forward here. And then obviously left tackle. We'll see. Was Wanye, is this over? Is the battle over? Is it Kingsley?
I think it's over. Yeah,
I think it is too. Will he show up? Because that's the most important position on the field in keeping Patrick Mahomes healthy. Right?
Yeah, I think barring
and this kid's 21. You're going to trust that to a 21-year-old?
Well, he can drink
Kingsley?
at least.
Barely in January.
Well, yeah.
He turned 21.
Yeah, so he's good.
And I'm not saying that
He was 20,
discredits him, but I mean just taking a step back, it's like, okay, this is a hugely important position where you had how old's Donovan Smith? 30 probably. You had a grizzled veteran last year, however good or bad he did, and you've had other veterans in that spot that know what they're doing to protect him, and Eric Fisher and other guys, but
even Orlando Brown Jr. had been around the block.
Absolutely,
it wasn't just like
and
he was a rookie.
I didn't think he was great, but he brought gigantic size to the picture. Right, it took guys a little bit longer to run around him.
Well, and he was. Let's be real though. You learn things as you age in the NFL, and he might not be the most athletic guy by any means. Orlando Brown Jr. is not an athletic left tackle, but you have the size coupled with the IQ, which you can get away with the lack of athleticism, which is why I thought was interesting when again Kwity Paye. I said, who was the hardest guy you went up against? Andrew Whitworth.
It's a great call. I love that call.
So I actually saw Whitworth out at Lake Tahoe at the American Century, and I told him that he thought it was hilarious. He was like, "That's so funny."
Yeah,
like that this young guy, half his age basically, was like
would have been almost literally maybe.
Yeah, no, it's close because he would have been like 22
42 and 21.
It was crazy, and that just goes to show you not just the strength and the ability, but also the IQ of he knows how to manipulate these young guys. Can Kingsley try to not get manipulated by, the Bosas, by Khalil Mack, the guys who've been around the block a few times? That's, I think, where you'll see the biggest struggle. And we saw it with Wanye Morris last year. Khalil Mack gets everyone. Khalil Mack gets a lot of folks. But it's even worse when you're a rookie because he knows how to set you up.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, what I'm looking forward to most is
not that Wanye's, I mean, what is he, 22, 23?
Wanye Morris
is not much more experienced.
23. Yeah. Actually, close to 24. He's a little older because he went to Tennessee and then Oklahoma. So that would have been the change there for Wanye. I still have high hopes for Wanye. I'm intrigued to see how he fits long term in the Chiefs' organizational game plan, whether that's right tackle post Jawan Taylor world, whether that's playing guard at some point. Matt Derrick was a little back and forth on that in regards to, he's playing guard now, but that also could just be to get some positional versatility, almost a break in case of emergency type situation, just a super sub as of now. It can't hurt you to learn multiple spots, but again, I thought it was fascinating that when asked, Andy Reid said in regards to Kingsley, will you try him at other spots? No, he's good. He's good. We'll keep him. He's a rookie. Just
it's his job, man. I think it's his job, and Andy always likes his versatility with offensive linemen. You have to, and that's one of the it's a good thing. I mean, I've long been a proponent of I wouldn't hate Tooney out of left tackle and Caliendo at guard, and the backup guard last year who just moved on.
Allegretti?
Allegretti, yeah. I wouldn't have been opposed to him moving into that position as well. So no, that's a big one. That is obviously a big position no matter what the offense. Even bigger when you have Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, question for you. Switching gears, talking Olympics really quickly before we take a break. We got to figure out who's lighting it up, Dylan. Can't forget that. But the United States, 105 medals. China in the second with 77. But gold, China 32, USA 31.
Have they got the lead back?
Yes.
What have they been winning?
Probably breakdancing. I don't know. But my point is, how have we, not even we as in United States, how have the Olympic Committee, the IOC, not come up with like a 4-2-1 or a 3-2-1, right?
What do you mean?
Medals that count. Like a gold counts as 3 or 4 points.
Oh, I see.
Silver has 2.
You want to keep
bronze
track
has
of
1.
points, kind of like
Yes, because-
soccer style. You got your record,
Yes.
but then here's the points.
Like, am I taking crazy pills? Because why is it that Slovakia, that has 1 bronze, is the exact same as Pakistan, who has 1 gold? They both have 1 medal. They're tied.
I mean, it depends on what table you're looking at. Sometimes they rank them by golds. Sometimes they rank them by medals.
My point is there should be an easy
be
way.
points. There is an easy way. Just click on golds, and it'll, when you search it.
I can search golds, and then China's in 1.
Yeah.
But they have 28
You
less.
could probably search by silvers if you wanted to.
But I sure can, because the United States have 38 and China has 25. The point remains that how do we determine who's the overall winner of the Olympics?
Medals. They do medals. Yeah,
No.
that's the overall
But is
winner.
it gold or is it overall? Because
It's overall medals.
But why? But again, this is
A
actually
lot of people get caught up in gold, right? But it's overall
It
medals.
should matter more. Gold should matter more.
I agree. Like if you've got Botswana with 1 medal and it's
Yes.
gold, and Morocco with 1, it's bronze, they should be ahead.
This is my point.
Okay.
Why are we making this so difficult? It could be 3-2-1, or if you want to even value gold more,
You
it could be
There's
4-2-1.
nothing stopping you at creating this table and putting it out there on the internet.
Math and like computer stuff is stopping me. Okay.
So 200 and some countries, you'd have to do all the math
Yeah,
for.
it's a lot of writing and work.
Man, I can't, because we were up by 3 golds the other day. I'm like, okay, it's over. I didn't know I don't know if what else has been going on.
You have
They
women's,
do-
women's basketball.
They do have like 6 times our population. Are they close to 2 billion people? China?
China
It's well over 1 billion. We're third,
Definitely more than us.
1.412 billion.
and then
we're
India's
third.
second, and we're
no,
third.
India's now the most. With
They got more than China.
1.417. It's like this is like a race. Like this is like 100-meter dash. This is how close it is. 1.417 for India. 1.412 for
Ooh,
China.
man, yeah.
United States.
1/100th of a person.
United States 333 million. 0.3, of course.
It's crazy. There's that huge gap between 2 and 3.
They have
Over a billion
over
more.
a billion more people
between 3 and 2.
Wow. They're getting their ass kicked with medals overall. Though.
Overall, well, we're deep. That's our
Depth.
biggest thing.
It's depth.
I think we might be the only country that does Olympic trials. If so, not many do. Just because we have so many athletes capable of hitting that Olympic standard, right? Whereas all the other countries, like, okay, you're currently ranked here, we're taking you guys. Rather than going to an Olympic trials, like, you've got to sing for your supper. You've got to earn it at this point. I don't care how great of a 2024 you've had so far. You got to go earn it here, and we're taking the top 3.
I will say, so women's basketball advances to the finals, which that should be a win.
That should be a win. 4x400 men should be a win, and I imagine women, if they haven't already run it.
4x1 just won. Shakari Richardson and the 4x1 team just won gold, so that's big.
Because I think Quincy Hall from Raytown South, well, the semifinals are today. And I think the finals to be, well, I'm not sure if he'll run the semis, but
U.S. men's volleyball got bronze. They beat Italy today,
Yeah.
which is kind of it's bronze. That's cool. And then again, men's basketball, they play France after their win last night, beating Serbia. They play France tomorrow. Actually, I think it's 2:30. So you get that, then you go directly into the Chiefs game, basically.
yeah.
It's nice. And where's the Chiefs game at?
Chiefs game, well, it's in Jacksonville physically, but it's
Okay.
also on KMCI 38 The Spot. Here's the deal, Sterling. You ready?
I'm trying to help you
No,
out.
I
here.
know. I appreciate that too. And it's fine. This happens all the time, and people will live their lives. It happens a lot with weather when we preempt shows and stuff like that. The big one's coming for preseason game number 3, because that's also going to be on KMC I-30 at the spot for the Democratic National Convention.
Oh, I'm sure
and we have no call on this. Listen, if it was up to KSHB 41, we would air it on 41 tomorrow, and then we'd replay it all night and into Sunday. But there are a lot of bigger entities than us. Like,
wait, who's bigger than you?
The Olympics, NBC, the Chiefs, the NFL. They all have their own wants and needs and rules and all that stuff. So we're just kind of in the
Mick Schaefer.
It's amazing, but yes.
I thought you were like the head of the the thing.
Did your research, you could bring in somebody bigger than me 3 days a week. It's possible.
That was before I got here. It wasn't my choice.
It wasn't.
Come on. That was already set in stone. I can't wait to tweet you Sunday at noon saying, hey, where's the Chiefs game, Mick? Because the Chiefs always play Sunday at noon, right?
Dude, people, I think they're messing with me at this point on X, but it's getting pretty funny. One guy was even like, so wait. Where am I? I can't watch Family Guy Saturday night on 30th the spot. So I'm like, so we're getting it from the other end too. The diehard Family Guy and Last Man Standing people on 30th the spot.
I am a late night Family Guy guy. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, Mick.
Never disappoints.
Never.
Does
Always
late night
hits.
Family Guy.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll see who's lining it up right here on The Zone.
Time for Who's Lighting It Up. Brought to you by Greenlight Dispensary, Kansas City's #1 trusted source for all cannabis products. Try their new AI Bud Tender to help you shop their huge menu online. Visit greenlightdispensary.com for more info.
Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Nick Schaefer. All right, let's see who's lighting it up. I'll go first this time.
Good.
I'll go first.
third.
I'll let you guys have some time. Who's lighting it up? And that is the Cowboys and Jerry Jones. Because Jerry Jones is lighting up this team, in the words of blowing it up. Because he's already now pissing off CeeDee Lamb. At least, I don't know how other way you can look at this besides on Twitter when you see CeeDee Lamb retweeting a quote from Jerry Jones, just LOL, after Jerry Jones says no when asked whether he felt a sense of urgency, then laughed through it by saying, I don't know why I said that, but I don't have a sense of urgency about getting it done. Put any reason you want. Great. That's going to go over great with your wide receiver who wants to get paid entering the final year of his contract, who is already, he's placed in the reserve, did not report list earlier in the week. He did not report to training camp, so that's good. Seems like a good thing happening with Jerry Jones and CeeDee Lamb. So he's lighting it up, basically, and blowing up the team.
Makes sense.
Does that work, Dylan, for this?
That works, brother.
Okay.
Yeah. Great spirit of the game. I like it.
Thank you.
I'll go second because I found one. I'm going to go with the Royals clubhouse guy / marketing person, whomever got the full-size, life-size Quick Trip cup cooler that now dumps the water or the Gatorade from the Salvi splash.
Oh,
dude.
So Pasquantino and Bobby got it, Wednesday, and it is a cup that's probably, 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it looks just like the styrofoam QT
That's awesome.
cup. And that was awesome. And I've been thinking about it ever since, guys.
So when are they going to get the big, 72-ounce growler that the truckers use, and putting the coffee in and bunch of...
Or you could store your bats in a giant taquito.
There you go.
Some sort of roller
Or
food,
the
roller
pencil
food.
bats.
No.
A
Yes.
taquito
Hear me
bat.
out.
Yeah.
Hear me out. You keep the rollers and you put your bats on the
On them,
rollers,
and they just kinda rotate them, yeah.
rotate through.
Love it.
And Bobby's are in front of the sign that says "Still cooking." They're hot.
done.
They're hot. They're ready to go.
If you're below 200 batting average, you're behind,
you're
the
behind
the
the
cooking
sign.
sign. Yeah.
So MJ's is way back there, but then all of a sudden,
Yeah,
and
MJ's
getting close.
But,
He's getting close.
but a clutch game, all of a sudden his is on fire.
Yeah,
It's like Savannah Bananas. when
It's edible.
literally-
You can eat it now.
This is the one you put on the roller at 11:30 at night. You know.
That's right.
Quick Trip, we gave you a lot of great free ideas right now. I'm just saying.
I'm surprised it's not a taquito race now as well.
I think we might. Yeah, it might be
But they
onto
sell
something.
they sell hot dogs too. But
Well, it could be a hot
some hot
dog,
dogs.
taquito, and what are those buffalo
egg roll.
Oh yeah,
buffalo
the
dogs.
Buffalo dogs. The buffalo chicken pieces. Yeah, the
Roller.
egg rolls.
Yeah.
Lots of
There's some
stuff.
ways. There's some choices. We're giving them great ideas. We should be a marketing firm.
I agree.
SMD.
Whoa.
Well,
Whoa.
thanks for marking that. All right, I will. but
DMS.
there you go.
MDS.
MDS, like we're doctors.
We're doctors.
You could have done either one, but
And
the
I
first.
chose the bad one. All right, save me, Dylan.
All right. So I'm just gonna play this again because it was so awesome watching. Because the whole time you are sitting there thinking we cannot lose to Serbia, and you're sitting there watching the game like you're watching a March Madness. My team's losing to a 14 seed because all they're doing is making threes. They're banking in threes and one threes. I mean, but that just made this even better.
Going right at Jokic with 4 fouls. Embiid fades and fills it up.
Yeah.
James, the drive. James, the finish.
Oh.
Curry for the lead. Oh! Kaboom! Bogdanovich. Curry. Coast to coast. Winner faces France for the gold medal. Petrushev steps up there. He wants the ISO. He's got the ISO. 5 to shoot. The cross. The sauce.
Ladies, not nice.
The splash. Bogdanovich puts it up. Short. And the United States, trailing by as many as 17, back from underneath the grave, advance to the gold medal game.
Is that Jason Benetti, by the way?
No, that is what's his name? I mean, Ian Eagle's son.
Yeah.
It sounded like Ian Eagle. Noah Eagle. Yeah. Such a good job, right? You hear he doesn't get overly descriptive, but like you can tell like how the game is going with the emotion and the rise and fall of his voice, right? And he's not spitting out a ton of words. The Curry, right? And so really, really good. Eagle family's very talented.
I agree. I love the announcers that let the crowd kind of eat as well to kind of give you the feeling of what it's like as far as the noise and the atmosphere too.
And he's doing TV, so he doesn't have to get overly descriptive. You don't have to tell him he's on the right wing, they pass it into the right block and all that stuff, 2 dribbles, because you can see that, right? You're more just kind of underlining the action, giving kind of a lower third headline to what's happening each and every moment. He does a great job.
It's like Vince Scully. You got to let it breathe.
Oh, yeah.
You got to let it breathe.
Pat Summerall.
I will also say I love the cross, the sauce.
That was good.
That was awesome. The only thing I would have liked is if Mike Breen was there for when Steph hit that 3. Bang!
Yeah.
That would have been the only thing that would have really got me going.
It felt like it just wasn't as, like a dagger because it bounced around the rim 100 times.
Yeah,
so
it really
was weird, but yeah, I agree. It was.
You had to wait for it. You had to wait for it. I will say, after the game, Bogdanovich said, we tried to talk to the referees. They didn't want to talk to us, but it's okay. The USA doesn't need that kind of help against us. We didn't have that type of help when they were grabbing us with 2 hands and all that. We played the best we
Ballad
we
of
could.
a loser.
And what's so funny was everyone watching was like, Serbia's getting away with so much.
I was going to say, him specifically was very much getting on the line of.
Dude, he had one of the worst flops I've seen in my entire life.
Stepper.
He went up to Steph Curry and, like, I'm talking, the cylinder rule, and you can't, like, he was, like, putting his head underneath him, and then Steph Curry just dribbled away, and he flopped like it was soccer. He went 5 feet back.
He got an and one because he leaned into Joel Embiid on one of the last possessions they had.
And
it's
it
like
was questionable.
It
was questionable.
Right, but they haven't been calling that at all.
I'm with you. My point was
their whole big deal in FIBA is this is physical. We are not giving you
it's great
NBA lean in foul.
It ain't no NBA
body-seeking fouls.
They let you play. They let you bump down there.
So I think that's hilarious that he's claiming all that when the last points he scored was actually a bad call.
He played great, though. I give him credit. He played great. Him and Melo, Mick, they were going after it. Melo was talking smack. Bogdan was talking smack. And then when he hit a 3, he looked at Melo and hit him with the Melo 3-point celebration, which is pretty good. But, man, I'll tell you what. When USA won, it felt so good. Just
so good.
My American blood running through my veins.
That was the last chance.
Your Serbian blood was not running through
My Serbian blood was not.
2%
you had that transfused out.
23 and me.
I had to take it out. I took it out. I said, I went to the doctors. Before they play Serbia, take it out. French, I'm going there before I don't care. Take it out. Give me someone from like Southern Indiana. Like give me Larry Bird. French lick it.
Yeah, I'm so happy that was not LeBron's last chance. Like that was really what stunk. Is that you're sitting there like this can't be the last time I get to see Bron, Durant, Curry trying to win a gold. Like that just would have been awful.
See the rosters for like the opposing teams from 1992 in the Olympics to now, and like what Canada had maybe a couple NBA players and maybe Italy or someone like that had won, and now all of these other countries are just littered with. I think Canada's entire roster is NBA players, and of course Serbia has them, and France will have them, and the sport probably in large part due to that 1992 Dream Team Olympic team has gone massively global.
And they played like one player that was Kukoc that was going to be on the Bulls.
Yeah.
And no longer is there just the Tony Parker French guy.
No, that's it.
The only French I know, French lick.
Well, the other thing too
goes back
is
to Indiana for you, doesn't it?
Kind of goes back.
Argentina, I don't think was in it, and they were always in it when they had Manu and a couple other players. And it seems like there's more countries from the European, area that are starting to, push out those older teams because they're better.
Do we have cuts?
We have some cuts. Yes.
What am I doing talking? We'll take a break. Come back. Cuts up next.
He thought I was trying to hit him on purpose. I hit him twice with two slow curveballs, probably about 68 miles an hour.
And that wasn't on purpose. That wasn't intentional.
You think? If I'm going to hit somebody, I'm not
I
going
don't know, man.
I'm not going to hit him with a slow curveball.
He's going to hit him with a slow fastball.
Yeah, slow fastball.
That's great.
As the great Frank Gantz once said back when he pretended he had been in the military, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the people that are afraid, but they go anyway. And then we all found out he wasn't really in the military, but he said he was. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't afraid to say he was.
That's pretty good.
Hell of a special teams coach, I'll tell you that.
Should have been afraid of resume checking.
Oh.
Good one, Matt.
Aaron Boone, you suck. Like, hold these guys accountable. Like, what are we doing? You got J.D. Davis, who got cut from the A's. You got him batting cleanup. This dude hasn't had a hit since he's got to the Yankees. Why are we batting him cleanup behind Judge? What are we going to do? We're going to pitch to Judge? No, we're going to walk him every single time so we can get to J.D. Davis. Boom, double play. Oh, let's throw him 5 curveballs in the dirt. Swing, swing, strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. You suck. Get off the team. Aaron Boone sucks. Cashman
Buster
sucks.
said
Damn.
the Yankees are in big trouble.
They are.
Taking the background.
They have they're having an identity crisis and
falling apart.
And it doesn't help that the manager comes out every single, no matter what happens, and I get his personality.
He's a player's guy.
He's a player's coach.
He played.
The players love him. Judge loves him. But listen, you haven't met expectations since you've been there. Joe Girardi got fired, taking a team that shouldn't have made the playoffs to the ALCS, who got cheated by the Astros 2017. Sure owes me $500. And then Aaron Boone comes in the next year, lose. Oh, hey, we're gonna win the World Series. Lose. World Series. Lose. 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 It's just a bunch of losers, man. Just pisses me off every night. Like I'm like, God.
You're still watching every night, huh?
Every night, and I just go to bed pissed off.
Maybe that's
Okay, so
we should change that.
Gehrig.
Yeah, man. I didn't know he was such a Yankees guy. Now we have beef.
He's named Gehrig.
You didn't know Garrick Dieter was a Yankee fan.
Do you know his brother's name?
Lou
Thurman.
Oh, actually.
Yeah, and there's a third brother also named after a Yankee.
Yogi.
Something like that.
Okay, I don't know if I can hate on that when you're actually named after old-time players. That's actually slight respect, even for a Yankees fan.
He's from Indiana, too, right? He's from South Bend.
Oh, that was a heck of a shot.
I don't think we're allowed to do this.
What I want you to do is mark that when he made that noise.
Oh, that was a heck of a shot.
That's a huddler.
Oh.
Hudgasm?
Yep, just had to do the.
Was that Jason?
That was Jason, yeah.
Hey, see, it's not all me.
No.
We've even heard one of me yet.
I was gonna say you're actually. Well,
I'm
here
clean.
we go. Hang on 1 second.
I got my money on Jansen.
He kicked my ass on Saturday.
What's his handicap?
Having a friend like Sterling.
Yeah, me.
That's pretty good.
So you did make it.
I just can't alphabet very good.
Kent Swanson.
Who said that?
Kent Swanson.
That's funny.
Alphabet, very good.
Yeah, I loved it.
Try to entertain. Thank you, Adam, for turning me on.
And save the day.
Mark it.
Mark it.
I got a longer one here. Hang on. Last one.
Try to entertain. Thank you, Adam, for turning me on.
And save the day.
Mark it.
That's true.
There you go.
Mark it.
Slipped him a blue chew.
Well played, Adam. Well played. That is it.
He's
for
got
this
some
week,
zingers.
boys. He does.
That's it for
That's
this
some good
week?
ones. Yep.
Wow. I'm proud of myself. And you, Mick. I don't think you made the cuts.
I didn't hear my voice once.
I'm proud of you.
I had a good week then. I was very responsible.
Is that a
Grown
good
up.
week or a
Or
bad
it just
week?
wasn't funny.
You're funny in my book, Mick.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's
Jason
depressing.
was in there more than us, which is a huge surprise.
Jason's funny.
Yeah. You'll be in there next week, I know for a fact. And you know. Well,
Why?
Just now.
What'd I do?
With our, acronym.
Yeah.
kinda little
S.
testing we did.
Oh, MDS. We're doctors.
Yes.
That one?
The other one. But yeah,
I didn't switch those letters around
yeah.
by any means, did I? Didn't seem like something I did.
I don't remember it.
No, it doesn't seem like us. I'm still slightly annoyed that I've not heard Jack's. And you know which one, Dylan.
It was in there. I just don't think you were listening.
Not when? That should be played every single
It
show.
will be in the madness, for sure.
That was the best one of all time.
Which one was it?
Well,
Tell him, Dylan.
I don't remember.
Oh, you
Can
remember.
you play it again?
Well,
You
I
even
guess I
said
could. Let's
you
see.
even said it's going to be in the March Madness of Sound. Is
That's
that
what I'm-
good?
yeah.
Bracket of sound, yeah.
Bracket of Sound. Sorry, I'm new to this. I haven't done the Bracket of Sound yet. I'm new, Nick.
You weren't here in March?
No, I wasn't here until like
I'm not
May.
going to get to it
Okay.
in time, but it is an all-timer. He's right.
See? Mick, I'm right.
Okay.
Even Dylan said I'm right. You know how hard that is for Dylan to say?
It's impossible.
Impossible. The program up next. Jason back on Tuesday. Mick, I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, I'll be here, baby. Let's go. I'm back.
GTL, baby. GTL.
Jim Tan Laundry.